We are live.
Cool.
How's it been, John?
It's been good. It's been pretty good.
Been alive.
Been
hanging in there in New York City.
In New York City.
Yeah.
The greatest city in the country, as we were discussing earlier.
As we were discussing.
Yeah.
So what other cities were you looking into? John saying how most places he was looking into, because he fucking hates New York City, were boring as shit.
I love New York City, but I do hate New York City. You're completely right.
No, you're not alone. I think the majority of us hate it. There's just so much to do here.
There's so much to do, and it's incredibly safe, like ridiculously safe. You look at violent crime, per 100,000 people or whatever, and you compare it to any other city.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing to worry about here. You can go.
It depends where you are, but yes, many areas have been highly gentrified, and it is way safer than the fucking 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking 60s too. Early it was super violent also.
Yeah.
60s through 80s was, I think, like peak, like you're getting stabbed.
It was dangerous, and it really started cleaning up. Sometime in the 90s, things started getting better, and now, like, you can go walk your dog at 3 a.m. through Bedford-Stuyvesant, and
Bedford.
It's cool.
There was some guy talking about how I think back when his mom was growing up in Bed-Stuy, I think it was like 1989.
All right.
Was maybe when they moved or some shit.
Yeah.
He ended up moving. I forgot where they were living, maybe in D.C., but ended up moving back up here. He did, and his mom came to visit, and she was like, "What the fuck?" She was like, "It's clean."
Uh-huh.
She was like, "Wait, you can walk around and not be scared right now?"
Totally. I've been living there now for almost 3 years, and I feel more at risk in parts of Long Island than I do in Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Brentwood's crazy.
I'm not even talking Brentwood.
I'm just saying, that's what I've heard.
I once had to get gas at 2:30 in the morning in Wantagh out on Long Island.
Oh, Wantagh,
yeah,
even?
It was pretty.
Is it just like it's like a bunch of like meth heads?
Where was I? No, it wasn't Wantagh. It was by Dix Hills. Shit.
Dix, huh?
No, Dix Hills is like upscale. I was in. Was it? I cannot remember
trying to break out my dick and
which
fart
town
in.
I was in. Pull up the map and check, but
okay.
so
the way,
further west.
Clenched cheeks.
Not like
clenched cheeks.
Oh yeah. It's the gas station was a party, like loud music.
Oh really?
A dozen people.
Jesus Christ!
I'm going to buy the bulletproof glass, of course, at the station, and somebody asks, I forget what they were trying to sell me, but they asked if I wanted to buy something, and I told them, sorry, not tonight. And then I bought my gas and left. But it was a little bit more nerve-wracking than anything I've ever seen in Bed-Stuy. So,
all right. Well, I mean, yeah. Again, the gentrification has really
this is going to drive me crazy.
The scene.
Pardon me for looking at my phone. I'm just pulling up the map so I can figure out where the hell I was.
Was it in? Is that Suffolk?
It was in Western Suffolk. Yeah,
okay.
like by exit 50 on the LIE.
Yeah,
that area.
Yeah. I've never been there, but I've seen the fucking.
Yeah,
I've seen the signs.
Where was I? All right, so we got
Central Islip. I think also that can be pretty. Like when I stayed, I forgot what fucking station it was, but for Renato's bachelor party. Mm-hmm. Me and Lexi stayed like 10 minutes from the Garden City Hotel.
All right.
And Angela was like, "You're in the hood," and I was like, "It seems okay."
Yeah, right.
And then when Lexi was on her way, because I had to go to the Garden City Hotel early, so I called her a Lyft. They had to go some roundabout way because there was like I guess some parade or something going on. It was like random as shit.
Yeah. That's just our Tuesday parade. What's the problem?
And so as the guy was like driving through, he was like telling Lexi, he was like, "Yeah, I grew up here, and you don't want to be walking around here alone." And she's like, "I'm not from here, thanks."
Yeah, I'm sure she felt really great about being there after that.
She's very excited about the United States.
Well, that's good.
She really loves the United States.
At least someone does.
Oh my god! Every time she thinks about the prospect of moving, she's just like, "Fuck, why, America?" She's like, "Why did you have to live there?"
Oh, so she's not.
No, I was hoping you'd pick up on the sarcasm.
On the sarcasm, I was being optimistic. I was hoping that somebody actually did feel that way about it.
No.
I don't. So.
No. Well, all right. The thing is, like, there's like many shitty aspects to any country. I mean, the United States is big, and so there's definitely like more scale to that, you know, level of shit. But I don't know. Like, after traveling around, it's like there's a lot of personality in a lot of these places. Like, there's
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, country's actually pretty cool. It's just a lot of shitty politics.
So,
But you find that everywhere. Like, tons of fucking corruption.
sure. I cannot disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
You know, but also people don't go bankrupt from like a broken leg in the rest of the developed world.
That's true.
So
yeah,
that's kind of a trade-off.
Like you like don't get the bill. The hospital assumes that which by the way, I need to pay a fucking bill.
Shit.
I forgot.
Really?
It's like $22. So
Okay.
I don't think it'll like destroy me that much.
So what was like for a Band-Aid or something? $22.
It was for the abscess that I got.
Oh,
I
yeah.
told you about that, right?
I
Yeah.
saw it.
I think it's like the 5th time we brought this up on this fucking shit. But
So it's a noteworthy abscess.
yeah, it was bad. But yeah, like so they like sent me a bill I think like 3 weeks after, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna pay it. And Lexi was here, and then I just forgot. And then throughout November, I was like, I should pay this, and then I forgot.
Right.
And now I'm about to go to Europe, and I'm like, shit, I should probably fucking skate over there. And just
The
pay
good
it.
news is they probably won't send $22 into collections.
You
The
would
bad
be-
news is they might send $22
Yeah, I was gonna
into
say
collections.
you would be very surprised, sir. You'd be very
I
surprised.
would believe it. I think I tracked down Wyandanch. So for my Long Island folks, it's 2:30 in the morning in Wyandanch that I was buying gas.
Shout out Long Island, yeah.
Yeah.
Long Island folk, maybe not represent, but represent, whatever.
I mean, send us a message.
What's up,
We'll-
Revolution?
We'll
and
connect.
yeah. We can talk about how much Long Island sucks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even more than New York City.
Oh, dude, Long
all
Island
of the
is-
prices and none of the jobs.
Well, it's also
Plus,
just,
you need a car.
It's also just like, yeah, everything's a half an hour away. That's pretty much
Yep.
the pinnacle of just ass.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. Half an hour in a car, too.
Yeah, no,
Like
that's what I'm
half an
saying.
hour on
half
a
an hour in
train is
fucking
one
car.
thing. You can read a book. Half an hour
Oh,
walk
yeah.
is one thing if the weather's nice. Half an hour in a car, you're just looking at the bumper of the asshole in front of you the whole time, thinking, why don't you turn off your blinker?
Or you're getting tailgated heavily
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
at night with their fucking brights on.
Uh-huh.
Dude,
Had
that
lifted
shit.
truck,
Yeah,
brights, like horribly misaimed.
Yep.
You could read a book again.
dude.
Don't read a book while you're driving.
I mean, if it's an auto, one of those Teslas.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
I mean, I
But,
don't.
Dude, I saw a fucking video. It was some dude, like it was this dude and this fucking girl. They were just banging while the car was just on auto mode, and it was just really. It was very like I think on occasion he was putting his hand on the steering wheel, but like they just backed the seat up. She's fucking riding him, and then like completion, it's just like, oh, we were safe. We were driving the whole time on the fucking highway, just straight and narrow. Yeah, they have Tesla porn, dude.
I mean,
Or maybe
I don't.
I think it was
that-
Tesla.
I don't think that a person should do that. Just in
Oh, I don't think so either.
Yeah,
I'm not.
that's-
I'm not condoning this.
No,
behavior,
but yeah, I
guys.
believe that. Thank you for the information.
Yeah.
Now that I know that this is a thing.
Yeah.
No, but that's
You have some new material now.
oh, absolutely. Well, related to Tesla autopilot, somebody recently did an experiment with some like invisible infrared paint or whatever that they could put on the road that a driver wouldn't see, but the forward-facing cameras that navigate would detect
Oh.
and it would swerve away from. So like you're
Oh,
taking a big risk when you're letting your
Whoa.
car do the driving
that's
for
terrifying.
you. Yeah.
Holy shit.
So, you know,
I'm not ready to.
drive your cars yourselves.
I'm not ready to
people.
give control to the algorithm yet.
No,
I-
because
I-
we both work in computers. You know how easy
Wait, like
it is.
literally, we're inside of computers.
That's how I do it.
Oh shit, you're really fucking in there, huh?
Got to get close to the machine. That's why I like C so much.
machine. I thought it was more basic. Shout out to the computer scientists and or just anyone who codes.
And yeah, right. Anybody who's ever put something into their TI-84 so they had something to do in the middle of math class.
God,
Right?
any other people watching this would be like, fuck you. Although the boobs on the TI-84, like if you type boobies, that was always great. Like actually like just using the numbers to type shit.
Yeah, but with the TI-84, you could actually put in letters.
Oh yeah, we did that too.
Yeah.
Oh, that got dark, but yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
9th grade.
That was a good year, 9th grade.
It's
But
an interesting year to say the least.
you know, having worked in computers, we can both, I think, testify to the fact that no matter how thoroughly you think you've planned for something, any program you build can break for the stupidest fucking reasons.
Oh, I know.
And now imagine it breaking at
All the
75
edge
miles
cases.
an hour on the LIE.
I know. It's
I'm
such a
not-
fucking heavy duty break.
Like, I would not trust my life to that car.
If you're putting it on auto though, because I mean, there's autopilot and there's like the AI auto.
Yeah.
If you're letting the AI take the reins, it's probably not going to go over the actual speed limit. I mean, but
I would
still,
hope
going
not.
55.
Then again,
and
yeah,
crashing
55 on
into
the
a
LIE
fucking
is dangerous,
guardrail.
too.
Yeah.
Not just because you could crash into a guardrail, but also 55 on the LIE, you're going to have people, like you said, like basically parked in your back seat, like honking the horn,
Yeah,
flashing
it
their
doesn't
brights,
matter what
angry.
you'll like switch lanes and they'll follow you. Like, go
Yeah.
faster, you cunt.
Right. This is not about the fact that you're in the wrong lane. This
Yeah.
is about the fact that you have the audacity to do 55 on the
Yeah.
LIE.
They're just highly offended by your speed. They're like, this isn't fucking right. This isn't how I live my life. You're going
Exactly.
against every grain of my philosophy.
Right, that's pretty much. Yeah. But
Such aggression.
So-
In Suffolk County, especially.
This
I think
is-
Nassau is a little more relaxed,
Guess it
but I
depends.
could be wrong. I really don't know anything other than that it's closer to Queens.
they have different kinds of aggression. Like,
Suffolk's more like, bro, and Nassau's more like, we're not city and go fuck yourself.
I've been cut off by BMWs more in Nassau County.
Oh, really?
And I've had people get out of lifted pickup trucks and swing something at me more in Suffolk County. So,
More aggression in Suffolk.
different kind.
Yeah.
Less, it's more active aggression. It's more passive aggression in Nassau.
I see.
Because the people in Nassau have, like, money.
Yeah, I was
So-
about to say that. I mean, Suffolk has money.
Suffolk
too,
has
but
money too,
More,
but
more
Suffolk
hoods,
is
more
is
hoods.
nouveau riche. They just got money, so they
Yeah.
haven't figured out that you can't solve all of your problems
with
by
just
like
fucking beating the hell out of people.
right
Yeah.
grunting and hitting something with another heavy thing.
Right. Those
Suffolk people, shout out, get in touch.
Hey. They just have like fucking
Grew
lead
up out
pipes in their fucking trunks.
I mean, kinda.
So one of my friends, he might still have it. He had like one of those little lead pipes in the side of his car in case anyone tried to fuck with him on the road. And the only reason I found out about this is because one of my friends he's hanging out with this girl who had broken up with this fucking 30-year-old cokehead in New Rochelle, and the guy came through. And he, like my friend, he has his arm around like the ex-girlfriend and like this other girl. They're just hanging out, they're friends. Fucking punches him in the back of the head, and then all of his boys start coming out, and they're trying to fuck with us. And then like eventually the cops get called. You see this like little fucking coked out like short man just like fucking like head banging on like street poles and shit, just trying to be like, I got all the energy. I'm fucking scary. I'm fucking 4'8". And then yeah, we ran into Evan. He was like, I wish I was there. And he just shows us this little lead pipe. It's like, I'm not sure if this would have really done much with those fucking 4 other guys, but I appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah,
Maybe he could have knocked out the 4'8" guy.
maybe.
Yeah.
Hitting people in the head with a lead pipe is a very good way to go to prison.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. You
Probably
brought a
not worth
weapon
it.
to the party.
yeah, and
Oh yeah, I think
Like-
all those guys got arrested, by the way.
yeah,
Except for
makes
like one
sense.
dude who was like, I didn't want anything to do with this. I'm so sorry we did this to you.
Well then, all right, cool. Like
Yeah, he's like, I'm just trying to find my way home now. We're like, run away, please.
growing up on Long Island, you got to be able to let shit like that slide. You know, and I guess it's probably true in a little bit upstate too. Basically, the suburbs of New York City are like this.
This wasn't New York City.
Well, you were in New Rochelle, right? So you're a little bit.
Well, these guys were from New Rochelle.
they were
so
from there.
This was in Scarsdale.
All right, so- well,
shout out to some Scarsdale folk, not everybody.
So you're still talking like just the suburbs a little north of New York City.
Yeah, but you still have, like, certainly it gets a little more industrial as you're going more south. Like, Yonkers. Like, that's fucking,
absolutely.
that's like goddamn. It's like basically city.
Right.
Just shittier.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've had this discussion with a few folk. I don't really consider it like upstate.
Well,
until
I
you
mean
get to like
up,
fucking
literally,
Duchess.
you had to go up to get there. That's about. It's,
Yeah.
I agree. It's
You,
not
like,
upstate
literally,
New York.
it's more
We're
north.
on the southern border, basically. But we're either way.
Everyone in Long
These are
Island,
New York
it's
City
like, upstate,
suburbs.
you're so far upstate. What the fuck is that? The farms?
Upstate, actual upstate is nice.
It
Really
can
nice.
be.
Can be.
It can be.
It could be boring as hell too. But
No,
I
it can
don't
also
go
be
there for
scary.
long.
I remember going hiking in. I mean, it makes sense. Given
Scary. I could think of several different ways it could be scary. Which one did you experience?
So one, I didn't personally experience it, but I went on enough hikes with these guys that I could have. There was friends that I had at my first school when I was when I was doing carpentry.
Right.
And we'd always go on these hikes because there was such great forests around. Like, it was right up near Syracuse, like 45 minutes down.
Yeah.
And they found my friends found their way on this farmland, and this fucking guy, I think he like rolls up in a tractor, and he's got a shotgun, and he was like, "The fuck y'all doing on my property?" And they're like, "We're just fucking walking. Like, please just don't blow our brains out." And he's like, "Get the fuck out of here." And so they were like backing away slowly. And they're like, "Okay, time to run through the woods."
Sure.
Like, that's where it gets like,
Well,
okay, you will have just fucking buckshot in your face.
They have to make sure that you're not just a bunch of meth heads wandering around on the property trying to fuck the cows or whatever.
You mean tip them or actually?
No,
fuck 'em?
I mean fuck them.
Are there people who actually try to fuck cows? I mean, people try to fuck anything.
Exactly.
I'm just I haven't really studied the frequency of.
I have no idea. I was making
cow
something
fucking.
up, but you'd probably have more luck fucking a cow than tipping a cow.
You'd be surprised.
I as far as I know,
I don't know
have
firsthand,
never
but apparently it's
heard
pretty
of
easy.
from everything that I've read or discussed with people, cow tipping is basically an urban legend.
Is it?
Yeah, because cows, one,
They're literally a ton.
they're huge,
They are a fucking ton.
and two, they're not like inanimate. You go up to a cow, and even assuming you could sneak up on the cow, you go to push it, and it wakes up, and it doesn't want to get pushed over.
It looks at you like.
Now, if anybody can provide a video of them tipping a cow or something like that, send it directly to us, and we'll keep it private so you don't get in trouble for tipping cows.
Oh, I mean, I'll totally put the fucking. Let's fuzzy the face.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. Your privacy will be respected.
Honestly, we can probably find a ton of videos of people successfully doing it, but it might not be.
I'm not sure. I've never seen one, but I haven't looked.
I'd like to
Mostly
investigate.
people just say "Oh yeah, I did it, but it was dark and at night, and we didn't record it, and it's illegal, and it was in the 1980s." Sure, you did.
Yeah, it's like, wait, you're 17. This makes
Yeah,
no sense.
exactly.
This is 2019 right now. Which, by the way, 2020 around the fucking corner. This year was a goddamn lightning. It's all progressively getting faster.
Yeah, our lives are basically over. It's
Yeah,
the next 35, 40 years will feel like 5 years.
I remember asking my dad when I think he was like 74 at the time. I was like, now that you're this age, he's 78, by the way, for people who don't know my dad. I was like, how old do you feel? He was like mentally 40, physically my age.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is what we have to look forward to if we're lucky.
Yeah, I have a feeling my hips are gonna be utterly fucked when I'm older. I'm trying to combat it a bit, but with all the skateboarding and everything,
I see.
and the running, my left knee is already not so happy with me.
My left knee is a little finicky. It's not bad. I wouldn't say I have a bad knee, but sometimes it's a little weird. And then my left shoulder, border of being a bad shoulder, but sometimes it's okay. So I feel like I might still be in the group of people for whom physical training and maybe some therapeutic exercise would be good enough.
So what you're telling me is you're 75.
I feel 75. Yeah, exactly right.
That's good.
No, but I know I have a number of friends who have bad hips, bad knees. They've broken bones. They've like totally torn ligaments and like had surgeries and stuff. I feel bad for them because
Oh yeah, dude.
They're in their 20s and 30s and they're already fucked up like that. It's not going to get better.
No, it's only going to go downhill. My buddy Lucas, he's I love him, but he's a lunatic. I go to a lot of like hardcore metal shows with him, and he was telling me, like, I think like years ago, he fucked his leg up skiing. I think he like a torn MCL or something like that.
I don't mean to laugh at him at all. It's just such a bougie injury.
Yeah, I mean,
I hurt my leg skiing.
This kid,
Okay.
he's not really that bougie, but yeah, he's
No,
he at
just
one point,
the injury itself is.
yeah. It's just like, oh, it was in Aspen. It's had a
Right.
little oopsie.
Right. No, but I'm sorry to hear about your friend's leg. Please continue.
I mean, he's added more insult to injury because fucking, he was saying how like he basically needed to get surgery. The doctor was like, yeah, maybe take it easy. He like basically he had like a brace and I think he like duct taped it, and he was still like, he was still swinging around in the pit and like some kind of kicks and like whatever.
Gotcha.
And towards the end, he was like, I feel like my leg like is gonna die. He's like this. I'm like, you literally just did this to yourself. You made it worse. And then I think he got the surgery and he was still going hard. He was like, yeah, the doctor said to take I think like a few months off or something. He's like, I immediately went hard. I was like, this is why your leg is going to be amputated.
Oh, well,
this is why it's going to be a nub, bud.
He's asking for it at this point.
Yep.
Like,
Although with the fucking technology that's going on now with like prosthetics, might not actually be the worst. He'll have a
Might not
bigger
be
and
the
better
worst.
leg.
well, hopefully not bigger. He's going to be lopsided.
right, just gets, like,
All he can do is walk in circles.
Just gets like the fattest fucking leg. It's like actually just like like that 10,000-year-old tree in Yellowstone, like that thickness.
Clunk.
Clunk.
Oh, it must be it.
Yeah, just fucking hobbling around. Imagine how horrible that would be.
Having a tree trunk for a leg?
Not an actual tree trunk, but just that girth. You know what I mean?
I mean, girth can be problematic.
In more ways than one. It seemed like you had something to say about that.
Nah.
No?
No.
Or is it that you don't want to say it?
I got nothing to say.
All right. I call shenanigans. But,
The shenanigans.
so,
But you do raise a good point about prosthetics. Might not be the worst thing to like lose a limb and then get a better one in a few years.
dude, seriously, because I think there was one guy. This is just a finger, so it doesn't really have any like sensation. But I think this guy like lost his finger. He used a fucking 3D printer to give himself like a dope prosthetic. It's like, okay, cool, I can write now.
Cool.
Yeah, but like the bit that I've read on it, they're actually getting to the point. Shout out to points.
Points. In general, points. Basketball points, points on the plane.
Just points. But they're making strides in actually being able to give sensation, so that way you can actually like when you go like this, you actually get the the brain reaction that you're fucking touching it, as opposed to it's like, oh, maybe you could be getting it back here or something. You're feeling like that pressure. Mm-hmm. You can actually feel it.
I have great faith in this human species' ability to solve these problems if we don't go extinct first. This is basically it.
Well, do you think
one or the other?
Do you think that during our lifetime there will be some kind of apocalypse?
Our lifetime?
Yeah.
I don't know. Flip a coin.
Flip a coin?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, given the terror that nuclear arms has caused, I'm pretty sure, that whole fear of nuclear holocaust.
That's a thing.
Or nuclear, I guess holocaust, I don't fucking know. Nuclear genocide. I mean, the whole planet would just be destroyed given the apparent power behind it all.
Could be, yeah. We have the destructive capability.
Yeah, so it wouldn't just make us go extinct. It would make literally every fucking thing over this past 13 billion years just disappear.
Could happen. I mean, I don't think that if we see something apocalyptic, I don't think that is the most likely, but it's definitely on the list of possibilities.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe we should make a more positive.
No, it doesn't matter. We can talk about whatever.
Sure.
I'm just like imagining like someone like it's like a stupid slip up, but like there's like so much nuclear shit going on, and they're like, oh, let me press this button, and then all of a sudden a chunk of the fucking Earth just disappears.
I mean,
It's just like literally just like you look from space, and it's just like it's like a jagged V.
you know what? It could happen, and several times nearly did. Like, if you read the history of 1960s in particular, like through that decade, the close brushes with nuclear war, there were several occasions where it's like somebody's getting an order to push the button, and
Yeah.
they deliberately refuse, and they were vindicated because whatever the people in charge thought was happening wasn't.
Yeah.
But if it weren't for the fact that they were willing to tell their commanding officer, I'm not going to push the button, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, things would probably be very different right now.
Very different.
Well,
Yeah.
I know during fucking World War II, like at the end when the bombs were dropped on what it was like Nagasaki and then fucking Hiroshima, right? Apparently, and I'm sure you know this, it was just like that wasn't supposed to happen. Like, but the president, was it Hoover or whoever the fuck? I forgot who
Truman?
it was. The U.S. president
Yeah,
at the
well,
time. What did you say?
Truman.
Oh, it was Truman?
I think
oh,
so.
okay.
Yeah.
I always mix up Truman and Hoover for some reason.
Hoover
Either
was
way, he was
Prior, they had Hoovervilles
Nixon?
at the beginning of the Depression and stuff.
Oh, okay. I'm just
he was
mixing up all
earlier.
the fucking presidents.
I,
Anyway,
it's been a long time
Yeah.
for me to go through the list, so I can't remember who goes with which
Yeah.
years right now.
yeah, a
off
lot
the
of them
top
are
of my head.
assholes too. Anyway,
I can't even remember how old I am, so
yeah, I often forget too how old you are.
how old I am.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't expect you to know.
All right.
I expect myself to know, but I let myself
Yeah.
down.
Well, the way
all
time
the
is
time.
flowing, it's like, oh, I could be 26. I could be 35. Who knows?
I don't know.
What year is it even?
People ask me, and I have to do the math, and I get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I have trouble with arithmetic too. I get it.
No, I don't have too much trouble with arithmetic, but I sometimes forget what year it is.
Oh, I always forget what year it is.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in 2020. I'm still gonna be thinking.
Oh, I'll be writing 2019 until
Yeah.
March.
Yeah, at the very least.
So yeah, dropping
Oh
the bombs.
yeah, so fucking Truman or whoever, he was fucking heated when he found out. He was like, I did not give this fucking order. And the pilots were like, oops.
I mean, I don't know what happened.
So it's good they're more cautious now. The people
Maybe
in
a little
charge
more.
being like, hey, press the button, and then those who are to drop it are like, hey, hold on a second.
Slightly more cautious than we used to be.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't quite sure what would happen the first time we dropped bombs.
Yeah, and then
actually in warfare.
and then pure devastation.
We found out what would happen,
Yeah.
and gradually have gotten a little bit more careful. A little bit. There are still a bunch of Soviet nuclear weapons that haven't been accounted for, though. So
Oh, most definitely.
think
yeah.
about that too.
Yeah,
but I don't think that nuclear weapons are the most likely apocalypse.
What do you think is the most likely apocalypse?
Nuclear weapons might factor in, but
Well, because I mean, yeah, there's like been this like consistent scare with fucking North Korea, just like Kim Jong Un, just like, oh, fucking testing, I'll test near China. Oh, what if it's China?
but Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un fell in love. I'm quoting
Not
Donald
now,
Trump.
Not now.
Oh well, they fell out of love,
Yeah,
'Cause,
it
you
was a
know,
very rocky relationship.
as is usual for Mr. Trump.
DT.
But I'm sure they'll fall in love again. I still have hope. I'm still shipping Trump and Kim Jong Un. I believe in the power of their love. Just
Yeah,
Kim
I
Jong Un will
think-
write another nice letter, and Donald Trump will fall in love again.
Well, if he gets impeached, then it will have to be Pence and Kim.
That won't
Right.
work.
Yeah, because
Mike Pence is so afraid of homosexuality.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
very like, hey, we should make camps. Huh?
Right.
How about that?
So if Kim Jong Un so much as writes a nice letter, Pence will feel like he's being solicited and probably bomb them in
He's like,
retaliation.
my wife said I can't do this. Okay.
Mother said I
Yo,
can't
yeah,
do
right,
this.
It's mother.
Mother.
It's mother. Wasn't there some politician who was talking about how like they were like trying to argue against like I don't know some like rape thing and it's like oh my wife says I can't even talk to other women just as a precaution. It's like what? It's like are you kidding?
I vaguely
I
recall something like that.
It's probably I remember the scenario wrong, but it was like something along those lines.
I do
and it's
think
just
that
like so
Mike
you're
Pence,
not
like,
tempted. What?
Doesn't
It wasn't
like
Pence,
he's
it's
not
some other guy.
comfortable in situations where he's not with his wife when he's also with other women.
Or
like he
mother.
doesn't like to be alone with other women.
Yeah.
But I believe there was another politician. Yes, you're right. Who like said something.
I think it's like a few of them who were just like, yeah, I can't temptation or like something like that, which is
All right.
horrifying. It's really just self-control.
I think this
Por
is.
favor.
I've got a lot of heterodoxical opinions on governance. But
We know.
I do feel like I could make a strong case and probably get other people on board. If you can't be trusted alone in a room with a woman, you can't be trusted alone in a room as an elected official.
Yeah.
That
I think that's a safe.
make that litmus test. Write that shit into the Constitution.
What was it? Andrew Wiener. I just wanted to say it German style. Wiener. I think Andrew Wiener.
Anthony.
Oh, is
Anthony.
God? Why did I throw him into my bucket? The Andrew
Yeah, don't.
thing. Yeah,
Don't.
Anthony.
He's not.
Yeah, I got the A. I got the A at least.
Yeah.
He apparently was actually a really good politician, and then he just couldn't help but just send his dick, send in his fucking wiener to people.
Carlos. What was it, Carlos Danger or something?
Wait, that was his name? That was his
He
pseudo
used
name?
some fucking ridiculous.
Oh my god, that's incredible, Carlos Danger.
I gotta look this up
That's
now.
like-
Again,
that's
pardon
that-
the phone, twice in one podcast.
That is
but
that OG fucking porn name right there.
It is, absolutely. He was Carlos Danger.
Dude, that's so stupid. Does he have an actual picture of him though?
I mean, if you want to look enough, maybe.
I think later on I might dig
I don't
into
want to
that.
see
Oh.
Anthony's wiener.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see his dick. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, well, I don't.
I want to see.
Who
if,
knows?
like, since
You
he
open
was-
a picture from him and it's his dick. That's how this works.
I just want to see, like, since he was going by Carlos Danger, maybe it was like some profile on like whatever.
Mustache. That's,
He hits his face and he just has like fucking French pencil.
that's the distinction.
Do
He's
you-
got the mustache on. He's Carlos Danger.
Do you think you could rock the pencil?
Me?
Yeah. Or do you think it would look too skeezy?
Oh, I think it looks skeezy on anybody.
I think
basically.
John Waters does an okay job with it. It's John
mean-
Waters.
Like, I don't think he's avoiding.
Shout out John Waters.
Yeah, if you're watching, please get in touch. We are fans.
I know about Pink Flamingo. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I know about it.
I don't think
Desire
he's
or whatever the fuck it
avoiding the connotations or looking strange or different. I think he's leaning into it. Like, he's cool with the fact that it isn't really contemporary style to wear a mustache like that, and that's part of the charm for John Waters. I don't think anybody else should
I think
do
he's
it.
always done that though. So I'm not sure if it's
Well,
like
I mean,
necessarily.
are you saying he's been doing it so long that he was doing it from the time that it was appropriate to now?
Yeah.
That's different too.
Yeah, I think
Like,
he's just
let me
like,
put it this way.
He's like, I like the way I look.
You could wear like that. What is it? The little toothbrush mustache. Like if you started wearing that in
The toothbrush? Oh my god.
that one. If it was
the fucking-
1927
the Hitler we
and
call
you
it now.
started wearing it that way,
Yeah.
and then like you didn't shave it until 1950, you might have been able to get away with that, maybe.
Yeah, but if you're
Because you started like, oh, that's just Benedict. He wears his mustache like that, no
Yeah,
problem.
Yeah. Good old Benedict.
Right? But if, like, the first time you met somebody after the 1940s, they had a mustache like that, you would probably think
Throw them in the Hitler bucket. Like,
Yeah,
oh, like,
like,
I
that's-
really admire this fascist man.
that's not a good mustache. You shouldn't wear a mustache like that. You should not ever do that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, like, the pencil mustache and the Hitler are the same. I'm
Guys,
just saying styles change.
You heard it. You heard it from the horse's mouth. He said, "If you're wearing a pencil mustache
You're
and
Hitler.
you have the toothbrush, you're clearly a fascist."
No, there are better giveaways, like Pepe Avatar.
Pepe. What's Pepe?
Yeah, the frog guy.
How does that make you a fucking?
You know what? It doesn't.
Renato sent a few Pepe.
Oh shit,
and
Renato better.
They're so ridiculous.
They
so
are
funny.
Yeah, some of them are funny. Some of them are very
The
funny.
derpy looking frog with
It's such a cute frog. Like, obviously not everyone who's using it is a fascist, but fascists really like it. And I wish you could just take it back.
Are you saying
from
neck
fascists.
beards? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that is also another indicator that you might be a fascist. This is like a Jeff Foxworthy bit. You might be a fascist.
Oh, God. Dude.
You might be a redneck.
Yeah, I remember.
You don't wear a shirt around the house, and neither does your husband.
Dude, I remember watching that shit.
Made him tens of millions of dollars.
Know. I remember watching that on Comedy Central like a lot when I was like 10.
Yep.
Then I saw Eddie Murphy Raw.
And that explains a lot.
How so?
You just seem like somebody who was exposed early to Eddie Murphy.
I was exposed early to too many things.
Yeah.
That's
I feel your pain.
pretty
Same.
much like from like age 7 and on, just exposed to debauchery.
We grew up in the era
Although-
of the open internet. That's part of it.
Fucking AOL, dude. When those
Seriously.
pop-ups were hitting my 7-year-old eyes, boy, did I take advantage.
And vice versa.
Oh, most
They took
definitely.
advantage of you as
I
well.
was very taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, I wish we could go
A
back.
little too much fapping.
Well,
A little too much hoarding, you know.
it happens. But, man, the open internet back in those days, like, there was a good thing about it in that everything was shit in the best way.
It's still pretty open, though.
Well,
Like,
right now, a tremendous amount of internet content is
well, in
either,
China, it's exceptionally censored.
well,
yeah.
a lot of it, most of it, is controlled by a handful of corporations. The stuff that isn't is still heavily dependent on like monetizing your content based on the algorithms devised by those corporations. And the result is an internet that, at least compared to like 1999, feels homogenous. It feels plastic. It's like walking into, it's like going to Times Square, and you're just
Oh, God.
all right. All
Yeah.
of this is clearly designed to fuck with my brain, to get me to spend money on shit.
Yeah,
But
it's all for commercial.
Right. In 1999, like, there were some businesses that were adopting the internet early, but they were shit at it and had no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
And everything else was somebody who put a website up because there was something they wanted to put on a website.
Yeah, they just wanted to do some dumb shit. Like, I
Right.
think
They had something that they liked or that they knew about, that they wanted to talk about,
Yeah.
and they built some shitty-ass Dreamweaver website and wrote their crazy ideas down, and everything was wrong and strange.
Well, it
and
was
bizarre.
raw. It was fucking raw. That's what happened. And now it's like, I mean, yeah, certainly, like, it's become like way more like corporate fucking owned, whatever. But I think the biggest issue now is like, you like besides that is that everything, like, all these sites are generally trying to like up the amount of graphics that they're using. So you basically need a computer like this to like with like fucking 16 gigabytes of RAM, and like I'm not trying to brag here.
16 gigabytes of RAM.
16 gigs.
Now, is that-
I'm rolling right now.
Is that
But,
real gigs, or is that, you know, what girl inches? You're familiar?
Oh god. Yeah, no, this is real. This is a real deal.
These are the real gigs. We measured them
Yeah.
with actual gig.
I saw
measuring
the
tools.
sticks. I saw those sticks. Don't worry. I know. I back this up. But basically, yeah, like
Yeah.
you need like a strong, like basically a strong processor, a lot of RAM, and like just fucking just like a powerful video card in order to go on some of these sites, and it still might lag.
Right.
What? I don't get it. It's
I don't
like,
get it either.
I feel like it's like a lot of these. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think computer science engineering is pretty dope. Like the strides that have been made since we started using this not too long ago have been insane. But it's just like it's almost like I feel like they're working together to just like, okay, we need to up the sale of these fucking things for the hardware, and then also boom, we can make strides in all these graphics. 'Cause people love graphics and just being able to scroll all in one shot and not have different pages. And
I think what we should do is we should have a governing body that only allows websites onto the internet if they can be loaded within 15 minutes on a 56K modem. Just like
Let's
in the good old days.
Go back to dial-up. I mean, maybe we
you
should
click
go back.
the button and you pray.
Maybe we should go back even
Please let
further
this load.
and just like forget about the internet. Just see if you can run some of these programs on Dragonfly or whatever the fuck that shit was called in the 40s.
Punch cards.
It's like taking up this entire space.
Absolutely. No, I think that the technology is great, but people take advantage of it in terrible ways.
Well, people are going to take advantage of anything in terrible ways.
No, it's got to work on 56K. There are huge parts of the United States that are still using dial-up internet.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like fully surprised by that, but like
there are big swaths of the country where if you're not in a city, you're hearing that, that wonderful crunchy dial-up sound every time you try to go online.
Give me an example.
Pick a flyover state. Sorry, no insult to the people in the states that don't.
Shout out flyover.
Working in a previous job, I had to.
The underwriting shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was working with people across the country in every state. Well, not every state. There were some we weren't legally allowed to do business in. But many states across the entire country.
Okay.
And some territories. And, surprising number of AOL.com email addresses. They're still, I think, the number one internet provider in the country.
AOL?
Per capita.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
they might not be, but at very least they're still like a major email provider for people.
One of the comics that because like a bunch of folk that I see they host mics has an AOL email. So I think you can like email them to sign up, and it's like, whoa. I mean, yeah. I still have an AOL email. I just never go on it.
I don't even have.
But yeah,
one.
I was surprised that I could still even log in. I was like,
oh yeah. For a while, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I think it has come down, and I don't remember where it was, but coming into the city from Long Island, there was a billboard for like someone who would buy your used cars or some shit, and it had an AOL.com email address on the billboard.
Yo,
so
that's pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, there might actually, like, people may have their reasons, like maybe AOL doesn't, like, maybe they're paranoid about Gmail or something, and it's like, oh, AOL doesn't snoop as much.
That might be true.
That's why I use it.
Doesn't matter. Depends on who you're trying to hide your dick pics from.
Yeah. I feel like at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really. There's certain things that are like kind of scary in terms of like people getting your data, but for the most part, like, I don't know if it matters all that much. I mean, if you're looking up, like, we all look up weird shit. I look up weird shit, and I know I'm not alone. So with Google tracking all of that, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like I got this weird idea in my head, and it's like, oh, you can delete your history, but it's like, I understand why that can be unnerving for a lot of people.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. And that might be one of the reasons why people stay with like AOL email. But
assuming they don't snoop.
Well, yeah. They might snoop less than Google. I don't know. It's possible.
The Googs.
The government, of course, can see everything anyway, because they're hooked into that a little bit.
Shout out NSA.
Yeah, NSA, absolutely. They're hooked in on a more fundamental level. So yeah, the actual. Like, they can sniff your packets directly.
The thing is...
they don't need to be able to open your email, although they probably can.
I mean, if you're on Tor, I think it's a different story, but they still recommend going
Doesn't
through,
the
like,
FBI
VPN.
Control, like, all of the exit endpoints for Tor anyway at this point?
Well, I think if you're not using a VPN, yeah, and then you have to, like, figure out how to, like, route your traffic. And like, you basically have to just, like, start learning to hack if you want to, like, not be found out. But I think it's still actually pretty tough. I don't know for sure, but I think it's actually still pretty tough for the FBI to be able to really pinpoint your actual IP. Like, I think it could have changed now because they get some really strong, I guess, cryptographers to work, or like some kind of hackers. I don't know. But there was ages ago, I think these FBI folk were like kind of like trying to stake out this like pedophile bit, like this forum or whatever that was going on Tor, and someone on 4chan like posted a link in there, like, oh, like what I promised you or something, just like, oh, like look at this great link, and the link, I don't think it really led to anything,
Just
but
gets a
it
list of people who
exposed
clicked.
all
Yeah.
of their IPs. And so then these dudes fucking all got arrested. So that's why I'm like, I think it still might, like, they may have like some ideas as to where the original IP could be, but I think like there's some kind of maybe like scrambling that goes on where it's just like they're not sure, so they can't really do anything.
Well, I find it amusing to watch people, and I'm not dismissing the concept of information security in general, but people who like decide they're gonna use Tor and they're gonna use, like, I don't know, Proton Mail and hide all of their activity from the FBI. The FBI doesn't. A, they don't give a shit about you, and B, if they did,
unless you're selling,
nothing
like,
you did is gonna help you at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, unless you're selling bricks of coke, you're pretty much like not of interest to them.
The FBI has been murdering people that they want dead since like the 1960s, before the internet even existed.
Shout out FBI.
Shout out FBI. You know, we haven't forgotten Fred Hampton, you dicks.
Tell me about Fred Hampton. I don't actually know about Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton was he was a civil rights leader, murdered just over 50 years ago. I think December 3rd, 1969. The FBI killed him.
Okay. Why?
He was involved with people. Feel free to correct me if I'm getting any details wrong.
John is a wealth of misinformation.
Absolutely true. I am a wealth of half-remembered, misunderstood information. So the result is you're going to get a bunch of stuff that sounds correct and fits together nicely, but is fucking wrong.
Fact check.
Yeah, please do. Joking aside, I believe he had been involved with the Black Panther Party at one point.
Okay.
But there were other organizations related to the Black Panther Party whose names I can't remember right now, which is why I'm not able to give the appropriate information, because I can't even remember the name.
It's okay.
And he had been affiliated with them and starting his own sort of coalition of people from across the country from he had like, let me put it this way. I'm going to use an analogy. Like, imagine Genghis Khan, like, coming up in power and, like, getting all of these different tribes together and getting them united under one banner. Or, like, what's from Game of Thrones, the guy who got all the wildling bands together.
I have only seen like 3 episodes of Game of Thrones.
All right. Well, shout out to anybody who's watching or has watched Game of Thrones. You remember the
GOT.
Yeah. Fred Hampton basically did that with a number of gangs that had been, street gangs that had been fighting. He got them to organize together, and I wish I could remember which city he was in, but he brought peace to the warring gangs, got them working together, got doctors to start providing free medical care for people.
Damn.
Like, he was a hardcore left-wing organizer.
Yeah, they were looking at him as so fucking socialist, and they were like, "This is fucking
Basically,
terrorism." Grah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So he had been putting together a coalition of, a sort of transnational coalition of people to oppose the racist laws and policies and actions and everything going on in the 1960s. And, FBI wasn't about that. COINTELPRO, they were not okay with major anti-racist left-wing organizers just putting together thousands of people across the country unopposed. So, they got an informant to be his bodyguard, and they drugged him, and they kicked in his door and shot him dead in his bed. That's what they do. So my point being, if you think Tor is going to help you,
think about what
FBI either doesn't care or it won't help.
Think about what they were doing back in the day. But was it FBI or CIA? Because I feel like the
FBI.
CIA has done tons of fucking...
Yeah. CIA mostly does their shit in
Yeah.
other countries. The FBI does shit in this
I
country.
see, I
That's
see.
a general rule.
Yeah, I mean,
Of course, now we have the
makes
Department of
sense.
Homeland Security and these, like, intelligence directors that are supposed to like coordinate all of these agencies.
Yeah.
So I guess the lines are blurring a little between who,
Like who does what?
who kills people there and who kills people here.
Maybe Homeland Security is just like.
You're gonna get on a list after this podcast.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck you say about us?"
Yeah, I mean, look, we're citing facts that the FBI. Well, they didn't necessarily admit. People broke into FBI offices, stole the documents, and sent copies to like different newspapers.
Oh no shit.
So that's how this came out. Like
yeah.
the FBI would totally be denying this if it weren't for the fact that somebody broke in, stole the information, proved it.
That's like what was going on with the fucking Reagan administration when.
Oh yeah.
What were they supporting? The Nicaraguan.
Oh yeah, the Contras.
Yeah.
The Iran Contra affair where they were selling guns to raise money.
And then letting all this fucking cocaine just flow into the country. And then that
Right.
dude in like, I think 1997, some journalist exposed all of this. And the CIA was like, deny.
Right, of course.
And then eventually, like, it ruined this dude's career. I think he
Yeah.
ended up killing himself.
Yeah.
But like, they finally admitted, they were like, yeah, this happened during the Reagan administration. But like, if that dude hadn't, I mean, I'm sure someone else would have, but like,
Maybe.
Let's just say it didn't happen, right? Fucking probably wouldn't know at this point.
No. And they would deny everything.
Yeah, propaganda.
That's how it works. One of the ways that it works.
Yeah.
We could shout out Noam Chomsky, just turned 91, if I remember correctly.
Is he...
We could talk about the propaganda model. Noam Chomsky, linguist.
Yeah, I know of Noam Chomsky, but I don't know exactly.
So he and another author whose name I'm forgetting, to continue with the misinformation, wrote a book back in the 1980s, Manufacturing Consent. The premise being manufacturing consent.
Yeah.
It is about the ways that the government and the media effectively work together, but it isn't necessarily like some, Joe at the FBI writes a letter to Bob at CNN and says, "Hey, say this." It's not like that level.
It's much more subtle.
It's more subtle, and it can sort of be an emergent property of the system. It doesn't even necessarily require people to deliberately conspire. So I'm not accusing anybody in the media of deliberately conspiring with the government to propagate a narrative necessarily. I'm not saying they're not doing that. But they don't have to do it that way. There are a variety of ways that information gets filtered before it reaches us, and the result is a pretty uniform narrative that kind of marches in lockstep with the opinions that certain people of means and power
that makes plenty of sense.
wanted to go.
Yeah. And
Absolutely. The result is,
because they have the fucking means to be able to supply that.
Right. And so the result is, let's say...
Here's more money. Fucking spout it.
That's one of the ways, yeah. So, if you're just some person sitting in an office somewhere in Arlington and, oh, darn, those Bolivians are coordinating a left-wing government, you can get a bunch of people together and try to convince Americans that the best thing is to question their elections and support a fascist coup. Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
I hope Evo is okay.
Evo
Morales, the president-elect of Bolivia.
Oh, yeah, I don't actually know.
In exile. I think he's heading to Cuba now. And
didn't that shit happen in Iran, too, where the fucking... there was the...
Iranian Revolution back in the 70s.
Like they were getting way more democratic, and then the Islam... there was an Islam march or something, or a protest, and then the fucking leader got kicked out. Like they came to the U.S. I don't know what I did, and then the U.S. and Soviet were like, he. Yeah, you don't, but don't worry, you're fine. We have more control.
You should just put a list of U.S.-backed coups and toppled governments in the description for this podcast.
Yeah, right.
It's
the longest I'll actually sit and fucking dissect it.
I'm pretty sure on Wikipedia they have a list of U.S. interference in other countries' governments and various
everything.
Invasions and
you have the fucking Gulf War, right? That's one. There was another one that came to mind, but it literally just escaped me.
Where in the world was it?
Oh, it's actually more recently. I think it was like trying. I don't remember all the specifics, and I think it's pretty well known at this point. But it was during the Obama administration.
Oh, Libya.
I think,
There were a few. So
well, yeah, there was definitely a few during it.
people are often
I think-
surprised when leftists really don't like Obama. It's like, what? But he's a socialist. No.
I think
And
it's-
also,
I think as a person, Obama was a dope guy. Like listening on Mark Maron's podcast, like when he was just talking about it, he's like, yeah, I went around the country, I talked to, all sorts of folk, and they're all really nice, but once politics get involved, that's when everyone hates each other. I was
yeah.
like,
Well,
man,
for me, it's it's blowing
Seems
up
like a
children.
good dude.
That's the,
yeah,
That's
yeah.
my
I mean, that's never
line in the sand.
Yeah,
It's like, did you need to though?
yeah.
Really?
But so during his administration, I think it was like they were trying to help tame like a lot of the drug trading that was going on in Mexico and like I guess all over Central South America, whatever. And there was like warnings, like if you like supply these weapons to like try and help tame it, they're gonna get into the wrong hands. They're like, that's fine. And then what do you know? Wrong hands.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
especially in recent years, it's been not a very good look for the fucking
Yeah,
U.S. But I mean, it's not just the U.S. I mean, everywhere's fucking up, just like we, I guess, started off with, right? Coming full circle. China's doing a hot job of selling counterfeits.
Sure. Which counterfeits do you have in mind? They can counterfeit a lot.
Well, I don't know. You guys have Netflix. Shout out Netflix.
Trying to get a sponsorship deal, huh?
Yeah, just
They don't
It's gonna make my
have
shout outs.
any good interview shows on Netflix.
Yeah, right. If I can bring us on. Although no, the Norm Macdonald show, I think.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen the more recent ones, but like he would do like interviews and just like dick around with comics.
Sounds cool.
Norm Macdonald's he's a G.
He's
a
very
G.
funny.
You
have to buy in to enjoy Norm Macdonald, but it's worth it.
Oh, I saw him actually at Terrytown. It was a weird show, but
Oh yeah, that's kind of what I mean.
he's a champion.
Yeah.
He's a champion.
Shout out Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, Norm was good. Wait, what was I talking about before?
China counterfeits.
Oh yeah, so there's this new fucking documentary series called like Broken or some shit, and like I watched one episode where they were talking about the counterfeit makeup coming from China, and this one fucking girl, she tried like this like Kylie Jenner lip balm, and like her lips were glued together because one of the ingredients that they like to put in there to help the way it looks.
Let me guess.
Super glue.
I was gonna guess
Yeah,
glue,
it was fucking-
and I thought I was joking.
It was fucking super glue. So a lot of that
the
shit
fuck?
super dangerous, like arsenic,
Yeah.
lead, like all that. So it's like, you think of counterfeits in general, right? Like fake fucking, knockoff headphones or like, I don't know, knockoff jewelry or something. I mean, jewelry can give an allergic reaction as well, but like makeup is like the dangerous ones. So I mean, that's more on a counterfeit level, but I don't know. China's doing some shit too.
China's doing some shit.
Oh, the honey also. Like, I think watched another thing. I forgot. It's probably another Netflix thing, where like additives. Like, I think we get a lot of honey. I mean, I think there's actually like places where like they'll get honey from like all different sources, and then they'll kind of like pool them together or whatever. And like some shit they were getting from China, they would measure like quality, see what chemicals are in it maybe, and they saw that China, like specifically from China, they were getting batches with some specific chemical that was like I think like cancer causing or something. And so then they were like, we're not going to accept this if you keep doing it. And they kept like I think changing the solution of this so it'd be harder and harder to detect. So it's like, be careful with the honey you buy too.
Right.
It's fucking crazy.
Jesus.
The food products, the makeup. I know how much you care about your makeup.
Yeah.
Be careful. Don't buy the knockoff.
I'm going to keep buying the knockoffs because that's all I can afford, and lead is delicious. So,
yeah, right. It's really good for you.
Yeah, it's important part of a balanced diet.
You know that fucking book.
I am very into heavy metal.
Oh.
Okay, the book.
Yeah, I think it's Bill Bryson. That fucking brief history of everything. book?
I have not read it, but just yesterday it
Yeah.
was recommended to me on like Amazon.
I read half of it because I was getting too fisted by like whatever I've been doing.
You wanted an even briefer history of some things.
Yeah, it was like I got a good half. I'll probably finish it at some point, but there's a part where they're talking about lead and just like how much got into the fucking air from like I think like 1923 to like 1980. It's fucking insane. Obviously exponential because like all these manufacturing companies were just going hard on it. But the guy who was like repping it, right? He would dip his fucking like arm, I think, in lead and be like, "Look, I'm fine." And then he would like scrub himself vigorously later on because he knew of the dangers. He was just and like people were like, "Oh, isn't it poisonous?" Like blah blah. And he's like, "No, of course not." And then it's like he knew, but he had to keep it going, keep the sale of it going.
Yeah, I believe that. I don't know the details, so I'll
Yeah. I gave like
I'll cede to your misinformation.
I gave a very brief like exposition.
Yeah, I know that leaded gasoline is being considered as one of the reasons for a number of social shifts.
Well, yeah,
the decline in violence across the country.
Wait, leaded or unleaded?
Now that we're using unleaded.
Oh, I see.
The reasons
Yeah.
for higher violence, as we were discussing, again, full circle, through like the...
Hey, we're staying on topic. This is good.
We are. We're pretty good at this. But higher violence in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, not just in New York, but everywhere in the country, might have been because of the leaded gasoline.
Oh,
and when
shit.
we removed the lead from the gasoline, that's why we see
So
a
it's just
precipitous drop in crime across the country.
Literally making everyone crazy.
Pretty much.
Oh, shit.
Lead makes you dumber
Yeah.
and more aggressive.
Yeah. Whoa.
Might also explain some of the voting habits of boomers. Shout out boomers.
you and Jesse are fucking very... I think you met Jesse once. I don't know.
may have.
But you and him are very, very strong in your opinions about boomers.
There are a lot of great boomers, but you can also look at groups in an aggregate from like a data perspective.
Yeah.
And then they don't look so great.
So enlighten me. What's what are the negatives?
Of boomers?
I already know them, but I want to hear.
Negatives of what in particular?
Just like the hate for the boomers. I just want to hear your view on why.
I'll try to take a more balanced perspective than hating any generation of people, which seems, like painting with a very broad brush.
He's being kind, but you can feel the fire within.
Oh, well. So I got to keep my fire somewhere.
The food was really good.
The food
was really dope.
The food was very tasty.
Yeah.
It is fueling this right now.
Yeah.
I think some of the reason for the generational divide that we're now seeing, my explanation of the OK Boomer meme, you've got a lot of people in the millennial generation and in the Generation Z coming up behind us, as it's sometimes being called, who are they're comparing themselves where they are, what they've done, what they've worked on, what they've accomplished academically, professionally, whatever, with where their parents were or their grandparents were. And they're saying, man, I have this degree, I have this many years of experience, I've been promoted this many times, I've, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm still living with 3 roommates that I don't really like that much, and the water doesn't work in my apartment, and I can't afford my health insurance. Whereas at the same age, working as a secretary, my mom bought a house.
Yep.
And so there's this feeling that you have a generation of people.
It's a disconnect.
Oh, a big disconnect. Yeah. That there were a number of programs and structural incentives built into the system for people of a certain age that helped them live a more comfortable life and a more stable and less stressful life. And after receiving those benefits, that same group of people then went and elected politicians and voted for policies that gutted those programs, stripped those benefits from people, denied those same opportunities to their children in order to
Maximize their profits.
Right, yes. Maximize the value of their property and stock holdings. So basically, they grew up in a system that provided a number of opportunities for them that they took advantage of. And then after taking advantage of those opportunities and getting that stability and getting that, that investment, they went and blew out those programs so that they could pump it all into the investments they had. And I'm not saying that everybody in that generation is responsible for that, which would be an absurd statement to make.
Of course, but
But the feeling is, these programs existed, these voting patterns happened.
And it just happened to be during that generation.
Well, it was that generation voting for those things. It wasn't, it happened, if it's sort of equivalent saying.
I'm saying it just happened to be during that generation. They were the fucking people who pushed towards
it's
that.
I'm just trying to distinguish. It wasn't a coincidence.
Yeah.
But yes. That
less giving than maybe the whatever the fuck they call the previous generation.
Before the boomers?
Yeah, what are they fucking called?
You had
you have the quiet generation.
The silent generation was like the 1930s.
Yeah.
And then the greatest generation.
Why do they call it the greatest?
They named themselves.
Oh, Jesus.
I think that was the generation that followed the silent generation or might have preceded. I'm not sure the order there. And then the boomers and then Generation X who don't get shit on enough. Actually, that's probably not true. They just kind of get ignored. People born in the later 60s, the 1970s, into the 1980s, and then the 80s is when the millennial generation starts. Generation Y, I guess, has been renamed millennials, or I don't know. All these names are completely fucking made up.
Yeah, I don't understand. That's always confused me.
Yeah, so that's another reason why it's difficult to point to a group of people and say these people did these terrible things and are to blame. It's like, well, the groups aren't even clearly defined. So how are you going to assign blame to everyone?
Well, yeah, it also sounds like with what you were saying before with the silent generation and then the greatest generation, right? It's like the greatest generation was at the fucking, the 40s up until, 49 with the actual booming, right after World War II. Yeah. It seems like such a short period because the baby boomers seem to fucking extend from, fucking 49 to, 67 or some shit.
Something like that. But let's fact check ourselves. Let's find the silent generation first, because,
But with what you were saying about pushing towards, just these, pushing these agendas to increase their profits, at least they got to snort a lot of coke.
There's some truth to that.
They got a lot of nose candy.
1980s.
A lot of powder.
Good
a lot of sugar.
Good time to be in sales in New York City, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of acid going around too. All these deadheads following.
Maybe, yeah, depending on where you were. Yeah, so the silent generation followed the greatest generation.
A lot of drugs.
So it's greatest, silent, boomers, and then however else you want to chop the rest up. So there, yeah. These are the people who were a little too old for the nose candy in the 80s. They were already in their 50s and beyond that.
Never too old. They probably were Coke has been around for ages.
This is true.
They were probably going pretty hard on Coke then too.
You know what?
I mean, you look in the 60s, people are still doing plenty of Coke. They were doing antipsychotics to get fucked up.
The 60s apparently was a really prime time for psychedelic
drugs.
Experimentation.
Psychedelics and plenty of other drugs. Because you read about what was going on, I think with the fucking merry pranksters or just a lot of these guys, right? Just Thorazine. That was a big one. Fucking called them Reds. Made you feel real down. Real fucking just fucked up.
Hey, man, I found this pill that they only give to homicidal, crazed cannibal murderers to turn them into catatonics. You want to snort some?
Well, that's going a little far. There were some people who just had mania.
Sure.
And then they would
really,
really just get them just with this heavy fucking duty antipsychotic.
Yeah. As we've probably discussed, and as we've certainly not discussed, I've never really done any drug experimentation.
Oh, I haven't fucked with Thorazine. I've read a lot about this shit.
But that being said, nothing against people who do want to try things as long as they're not hurting themselves or others.
John is actually part of DARE.
Which was horribly ineffective.
I know. Kids like
drug
didn't
use
even
went
know.
up
Yeah, kids like
after they
didn't even
introduced
know
dare.
about these drugs, and
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute, this like, you're telling me fucking.
Right?
You're
They made
you're
it sound
me,
good.
You're telling me meth will keep me up for days and I'll be productive, maybe?
Yeah. These are the drugs that somebody might try to give you. Bullshit. They go by these names, and they have these amazing effects.
Yeah, it's like LSD might make me see things morphing into things that aren't there. Oh my god, I love visual hallucinations.
Yeah. So
I will say though, with LSD, it was mainly just a lot of morphing. I guess I wasn't visual enough. I don't know. Like I would see like if I stared at something long enough, I would definitely see like, whoa, there's some weird shit going on. But like, I've had friends who have described like maybe they were just saying it. I don't know, but like seeing like Mayan patterns all around them, or like seeing fucking leaves just like explode into like a horse. And I'm like, was not my like I've eaten enough to like see shit, but like that was. Like that's very next level. I've seen like veins crawling up and down like spiders on my friend's arm, but not like it wasn't like things like necessarily just like forming into like fucking horses.
Maybe that has to do with where you are mentally. Maybe it has to do with your own particular neurochemistry.
I'm too grounded in my mania.
Perhaps. Perhaps that's it. Should try some different psychedelics and compare notes.
Yeah, right. If I still did them.
Yes.
Yeah.
No longer the case.
These days
I
I
recognize
cannot.
that.
Yeah, these days I cannot. I think overstayed my welcome in the psychedelic realm.
That's fair.
It was all in high school too, mainly. Like it was like I tripped a little bit after, but it was like mainly the brunt of it, the excess. It's fucking high school.
Got to do something in high school.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So it wasn't doing anything
got to
else.
find a way to survive high school somehow.
I was,
Shout out to high schoolers.
I was like either fucking like avoiding, or I would get like little bits of what I needed done, like building fucking shit in carpentry class, or like playing piano. It's like I guess tripping's like a nice second, or like, rather a nice fourth or fifth, whatever the fuck.
Right. Yeah. RuneScape and guitar for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to fuck around with. I mean, I'm now back into video games, but like I was like messing around with video games a lot. It was like video games, and then like porn, and then like lots of porn, and then like way too much porn, and then I was like, I'm gonna start like going outside more and hang. I mean, I was like still going outside, but I was like, I'm gonna like be active and like actually hanging out more with like not like the hood folk I was chilling with, which was like on the weekends mainly. Or if it was summertime a lot. But you know what I mean. It's like get me away from all the porn and talk with different people about not porn.
Right.
And
about
then,
anything else.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And then drugs.
You know what?
And drugs.
That given your drugs of choice, that might have been a healthy decision. Well,
we can ask Dave what he thinks about that.
We can. But the reason for me making that statement is you were engaging in potentially harmful, addictive behavior with just like locking yourself in a room, watching a lot of porn.
Dude, porn hoarder, yeah.
Yeah.
Get home from middle school and just like fucking feel like 8 hours of just like, oh, like let me fucking hoard.
Yeah, right? And then
like smoke cigarettes through a fan and then just like, okay, let's go back to the porn.
Seriously. And then you instead of doing that, it's not like you were doing crack or you know meth or something.
There was one dude I bought pot from who like I gave him a ride to like Mount Vernon or wherever the fuck he lived, and he was like, "You ever try smoking crack, man? It's just crazy. I did it 3 times. It's like I wouldn't do it again, but it was crazy each time."
Well, that's an experience.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to sell me crack. He was just like, "Don't do it."
Oh, really?
He's like, "It's not recommended."
Nice guy.
Yeah.
All right.
He was cool.
He's warning you.
You know, he was cool. You know, pick him up from the gas station. Then
give him a ride.
Give me some pot. It's good.
Yeah. Cool. But that's you instead of potentially physically and mentally harmful, isolating, addictive behaviors, you messed around a little bit with some things that are not necessarily pharmacologically addictive, and got out and engaged in social use. So I'm not promoting it in general, but in your particular case, given where the behaviors you were engaging in, and then what you decided to do instead.
Well, yeah,
might have been a healthy thing.
I steered my addictive personality towards other things.
Well, now you
or I
engage-
guess addictive tendencies.
right.
Because like I know I get when I get into something, I
You
get
get into something.
fucking
Yeah.
fucking into it, dude.
Which is fine.
kind of-
That's-
Yeah, but it's like sometimes I feel like it's probably detrimental to like.
Well, now you're
I don't
at
know.
a point where you can recognize that and even
Oh yeah, I'm definitely.
notice it as it's happening. and
People
redirect.
talk. Yeah, people talk about change, and it's just like when you're fucking caught up in the angst of being a teenager. It's just like, oh my god, fucking.
Right.
Yeah, what is that? I don't know what that is. What the fuck? I'm so depressed. But then it's like, yeah, like now fucking what? I'm 27, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
life is still kind of a bitch, but like
Oh yeah.
I can I guess I can deal.
Right. People definitely do change. Like, oh, people don't change. Well, maybe you don't.
Yeah, it's like maybe you
But-
got to get your shit together. a little
Right.
bit.
I hear that from people, and that tells me more about the person saying it than it does
Mm.
about humans in general. I heard it phrased that people are processes, right? To be a person is to be a process. You're not the same thing. You're not some monolith constantly, right? I mean, you might feel that way because you can only be in your head at the moment
Well,
that
yeah.
you're experiencing.
I think at the base of it, right, especially with everything that you've accumulated up to that point, you are inherently the same person, but like there is still a dynamic nature to your, your philosophical, just kind of what's going on here, your outlook on life, your perspective.
If a person hasn't changed, if they can look back on everything they've been through and really remember where they were and say, I'm basically the same, it makes me feel like they're not learning from any of the experiences that they had.
Yeah, it might be there's still like some fucking fear in there,
Maybe.
and they're like, oh, like I always need to be the same, just same.
Well,
I don't know.
letting go of being who you are is a very
it's-
terrifying thing.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one thing, and this is what I always tell folk when I mean, if they haven't fucked around with it. I mean, at this point, everyone and their mother is fucking just tripped out.
I haven't. My
No,
mother
I know
has.
you have. Yes, your mother definitely has. Grew up in that time.
Yes, she did.
But one thing that I always appreciated about those experiences, despite the many bad trips that I encountered, or endured rather, it always stripped me fucking raw.
Mm-hmm.
So like I always like experienced fucking just like god damn it, every illusion that I constructed for myself about what my reality is and like what I've been trying to hide from myself. I just need to face it all now.
Right.
And it's just like I can't hide, so I guess okay, it's here, it's brooding, whatever. So that's one thing I really appreciated about
That-
the experience I had with it. Like
that sounds
even if I went
beautiful.
into it just wanting to have like, oh, like I'm not I got into the mentality of like, oh, I'm gonna learn from this. It's like such a learning experience. Sometimes you just go into it just like whatever, it's an experience. No matter what, it was just always stripped raw. It's like, god damn it, I'm facing myself again. Okay, all right, I guess this is happening.
Yeah.
So it was always just like, I guess, facing some of that, like what is considered kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, what I knew myself as, it's like, I guess there, but like all the illusions are gone, and it's just like, okay, I need to fucking get to know myself again.
That does sound like it can be edifying. You can learn a lot from that. You can grow from that. So, in your particular case, it seems like it may have been a healthy thing to explore a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think running around New York City has been doing a little more, as I've been trying to jump into the mic scene, but
Yeah? That
Yeah.
also forcing you to confront the illusions you've constructed for yourself?
yo, on some real shit though, like you get slapped real hard, and like it's like, oh, you think you're funny? It's like, think again, motherfucker.
Well, the good news is, from what I've seen of the open mics, nobody's funny, ever. Funny isn't a thing. Funny doesn't exist.
Nah, there are some good, but I mean,
It's just a brutal
it's-
scene.
it's
like,
wor- yeah,
nobody's
it's-
laughing when you
it-
go up there. Maybe because, like you said, everyone's in their own head working on
it
material.
depends. The one that we went to, it was just it was like the energy was just
Yeah. Like,
Real
bombing
low.
there, you can't feel bad about it because
well, because
everybody bombed. Like,
Yeah.
that crowd was not looking to laugh that night.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some rooms like that, but at that point, it's just like I said to you at the time, like you just end up working on just delivery and just kind of committing, even if you're fucking eating dick.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like, yeah, even if it is like all comics, you can still get some kind of gauge because it's like there's still an audience, even if they're a fucking maybe one of the tougher audiences. There's still an audience. So it's just the thing is because of the way that I think they end up analyzing things. If you can get that room to laugh, it might actually have a lot of legs in front of a non-comic audience. Mm-hmm. So. But yeah, it is definitely easier if you can get in front of a real audience, or not real audience, but a non-comic audience more
right,
often.
A bunch of people who are specifically going to a comedy show to watch a comedian make them laugh.
Well, yeah, because even going to some of these mixed mics, or like maybe primarily music, I've done okay, but like musicians can also be like, kind of just want to play my music.
Yeah.
I don't know about you being up here right now.
Yeah. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Definitely getting up in front of an audience who is there to be an audience is going to help.
Yeah.
Especially if they're looking to be amused.
Of course. Because
if they've been drinking.
There's generally more support. Oh, you'd be surprised, though.
You don't...
because with drinking, at least what I've like...
I mean,
at least what I've
I'm
heard
assuming
about,
like 2 drink minimum, not like... They've had 20 drinks.
Yeah,
they're already throwing things at the stage.
Well, if
there isn't even anyone up there yet.
If people are doing like mid-country bar shows, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit can get like they can get rowdy. So it's like.
Fortunately, we're in New York City.
Yeah, but I'm saying even 2 drink min at these fucking places, people would still go over. It doesn't matter.
Sure,
that's just the min.
I'm hoping
it's
they're
greater
sticking
than or equal.
near, especially with the prices of drinks here.
I know. But yeah,
$15 drink, you 2 drink minimum.
Some people, especially some of the parties that end up going to these fucking places, they're willing to just spend. You know what I'm saying? They're willing to fucking throw down.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then that leads me to more of like the rowdiness, getting heckled. And I mean, some people can handle it well. I have not really experienced it. I had one dude tell me that he, after I was just working out some shit, he was like, yeah, I don't think you're funny, man. I was about to heckle you up there. I was like, all right. I was like, thanks. I mean, maybe I would have appreciated it because I need to get used to it, but like, glad you don't like my shit.
I don't know how I feel about that person.
It is what it is. Me and him actually had a pretty cool conversation after that. He was trying to tell me, he's like, yeah, get more personal, man. Like, talk about the Bronx. I'm like, I don't fucking live in the Bronx. I was dating a girl in the Bronx years ago. I know that there's machetes there. But like, I don't live in the Bronx. It's
right.
Like, that's not personal to me. It's personal to you.
Yeah. Talk about the...
Yeah, he's like, talk about the relevant shit.
What?
I'm like, all right, man.
The Bronx isn't relevant to me. What the hell?
But yeah,
man?
I was like, God damn. I was like...
So wait, you don't think that I'm funny because I don't tell jokes about where you grew up?
Yeah. He was trying to joke around after that. He was like, yeah, man, with this gold I'm giving you, like, it's like if you make millions later, just don't forget about me. I'm like, yeah, I'll try to work this out.
Sure.
Don't worry, I won't forget about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Who are you again?
Yeah.
Don't forget about you when I make millions.
Yeah,
I'm going to forget about you by the time I walk out of this room.
I'm like 3-4 months in. He's like, yeah, you're going to be making millions. I guess at the end of the day, that was a compliment. He's like, yeah, you got potential, like very like subtly.
Maybe. Or he's just saying that he believes so much in his own advice that
yeah, right?
you're going to be making millions because he advised you.
I've been all over the world, man. I know how to do this.
Had he been all over the world?
Apparently, he was like
doing this,
like
or
drummer.
just had he been around the world like in the Navy?
I think I mean that's actually good. Maybe he was, but no. It seems like he's just been a drummer forever, and he's just like traveling around with a lot of folk. Yeah, kind of like drummer. Like
I'm not going to shit
inflated, inflated ego.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I was just going to say I'm not going to shit on drummers, but apparently we're shitting on drummers now.
No, it can happen with anybody.
It absolutely can.
But like,
my point is,
with a lot of musicians.
What about being
especially
a drummer?
when they've gotten to like some kind of top? They're like, yeah, I'm the shit. What's up?
Sure. Of course.
Yeah.
But what about being a drummer would give him any platform to advise you on being a comedian?
I mean, he actually said a few times, he's like, yo, I ain't no comedian, man. Maybe
well, there you go.
Direction. I'm like...
I don't know anything about what I'm about to say, but listen to me.
Yeah. I don't know. He was drinking. It was just a weird...
It
was just a weird interaction, and I was just like, God damn.
Well, you took something from it, and that's pretty cool.
I told my friend Lee about it. He was like, listen, man, I don't think you're funny. And she was like, oh, my God. And I was like, no, it wasn't that bad.
No, I mean, you got to be able to cope with that if
Yeah.
you're gonna go be a comic. Like,
Oh yeah, I just thought that was like, I was like, okay. It was like, I found it to actually be kind of funny, but I was like, God damn, it's like candid fucking asshole.
yeah, yeah. I think you have the exact right disposition to deal with shit like that, because that just rolls right off your back.
My buddy Connor was saying like, for the first few months he wasn't really getting many laughs. He started like down in Florida, and he said there was like one show that he was doing because I think there's like more opportunity to kind of hop on shit since it's like a smaller scene. Here you really got to hustle a little more for that. And he was saying he was getting heckled, and like the shit that people were saying, the way that he was reacting to it, I don't know exactly what they were saying, but like shit they were saying, the way that he was responding, he was like, maybe I'm cut out for this.
Oh,
He's
yeah?
like, the fact that I'm reacting this way, like,
Yeah.
I should really stay with this.
Probably.
Yeah, he's like, one day.
There are comedians whom we don't need to name who their act, to a great degree, is built around them dealing with hecklers.
Yep.
Some of them are great. Some of them maybe people don't like as much, but that's a skill in itself, A, and it's also a great source of comedy.
Hofstetter is one of them. He has fucking...
That's
what you
I
had
had
in mind,
Steve
right?
Hofstetter in mind. Him
Yeah.
and Jimmy Carr.
Well, Jim Carr is also just like 1-2-liner genius.
He's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been trying to like watch a little more. I mean, Mitch Hedberg, that's always like fucking classic guy. But like, watch like Stephen Wright, fucking Anthony Jeselnik. I've had trouble getting properly into Carr. Into the car. He like, I think he's really clever, but like, this hasn't really been my cup of tea.
That's funny because he's British.
Just so
Is he Northern Irish?
I'm here
I don't
for
remember.
a little longer, guys. A little longer.
A little longer. Little preview of the stand-up show.
Dude, I was like, I streamed with James, I think like 2 weeks ago, and James had brought up the fact that I've been like hitting mics, and people were just like, oh, like tell us a little bit of what you've been working on. And I was like, okay, I'll just pull out my shitty like 1-2-liners, and like I think I spit out 3 of them, and each time, because they were just puns, the reaction was like, oh god damn it, motherfucker.
You know what?
Yeah.
Those are they're seasoning. They're
Well, 'cause
seasoning for a well put together routine.
Well, because I don't do those. Like,
Right.
It's not. So I've been like trying to like work on like a different writing style, because that's the kind of shit that like if you want to get into. I mean, I don't know if I really ever do this because I don't know like what is gonna happen with any of this shit. But like if you wanted to write for like late night stuff, fucking having 1-2-liners, like being able to write those all the time. Fucking, that's how you make that money. But also, it would just be cool to just learn another writing style, because I'm just stories, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But I could write more jokes if I knew how to do
Right.
1-2-liners.
Yeah, if you expand the kinds of humor
Yeah.
that you're working on, you'll have a bigger selection. You'll be able to write more jokes. You'll be able
Yeah.
to try out things, fit them together differently.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Right. I mean, sometimes I think that being able, at least being competent with some short, punchy line, like a one-liner or a very short joke that doesn't require any setup.
Yeah. Maybe as like some stupid transition into another.
Exactly.
Another
Or
thing.
just something to start off with, to get people's attention, to get an easy laugh out of some people, to start turning that energy around.
Yeah.
And getting them ready, getting them primed.
It can even just be something totally stupid.
Absolutely. Just go up on stage and shit yourself.
Patton Oswalt actually did that.
Did he? Wow.
He didn't mean to.
But did it work?
His story was that he was horribly sick. Like, so sick. And I think he was supposed to, they were like, oh, you want to host this? Like, just do 10 minutes up top, and then just like, then you bring out the main guy or something like that. I forgot how it went down, but he basically, he had to like get himself in the zone where he's just like, I'm fine. Not that sick. And then like he goes up there, and I think he like says, like, he asks everyone how they're doing, and some guy immediately heckles him, and then he's like, I'm really sick, nothing is working, and then he fucking just shits. And he immediately walks off stage and feels it like sliding down his leg. I can probably send it to you.
Sure.
Yeah,
by all means.
But I was like, fucking A. So he's like, yeah, when people talk to me about having a bad show, just, you can basically just tell them about that. It's like, I
Yeah.
guarantee you haven't had a worse time. Like, if you haven't shit yourself on stage, I'm pretty sure. He's like, that's when you know. Like, when you stick with this after that, that's when you know. There have been times where I thought I was going to shit myself, to be honest.
On stage?
Yeah, but not because I was nervous or anything. It was
No.
just because I fucking ate and I was digesting and I was
Right.
like, oh shit, I'm going to feel rude kind of leaving the room. And then it's like, well, I guess maybe risk it, whatever. And so like, I'm like, I had to like literally walk out because I started farting. Like I couldn't help it. I backed through these curtains and then immediately just walked outside to just release. And I was like, wow, that pressure is gone. Then I went inside, bombed, and then I was like, at least I didn't shit myself.
You know what? It's the small victories.
Yeah. I've had a lot of close encounters.
You know what? It's a thing. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah. But what you were saying before is was just like, like a one-liner up top. Like,
Yeah.
Like even one way to like, like maybe catch attention, just like ask if anyone is on the verge of shitting themselves. It's like one way just to like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, is anybody else, or is anybody here about to shit themselves?
Yeah,
Or
like
is that just me?
I'm always there.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm
Yeah.
always full of shit. I don't know what's happening.
I think it's just anything that can get a reaction, anything that can get a connection.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing. Like,
Right.
I think there's a huge emphasis on just being conversational. That's like I think a pretty big shift from what it used to be like in the 70s, 80s, where it's just like, hey, my fucking wife, take her.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm going to give her back.
what is
But
that, like Milton Berle or something? I forgot who the origins of that is, but it's like back in
right,
the day.
that-
That's like old.
that
like,
was
that's old
humor.
one-liner.
back then,
Just
yeah.
like take my wife,
Please.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I'm glad that people are funnier now.
I
No, people are
think-
funnier than that.
Well, I'm saying like definitely like there's been the evolution in humor, but I think there was still like there's like Phyllis Diller really. I feel like her shit aged pretty well. Not all of it, but like she had some fucking good like. There's a video on YouTube of her just doing 5 minutes of one-liners for fucking fat. It's just fat jokes. Oh, incredible! She's a fucking savage.
right.
Of course, Rodney Dangerfield. Initially, I
Rodney
didn't really like
Dangerfield.
his stuff, but like, as I, I guess started watching more than just like Chappelle and fucking like Bill Burr, because like I grew up on Chappelle and fucking
Right.
Eddie Murphy and Bill Burr on when he was on Premium Blend before he got more specials. Like once I actually started like exposing myself to more shit, dude, Rodney.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield is fantastic.
Yeah.
Was fantastic.
Phyllis-
Still is,
Yeah.
but he's dead.
He's pretty dead.
He's
It's
pretty
definitely
dead.
he's very
Like on a scale of
very rotting.
alive to
Yeah.
dead, he's dead.
yeah, he's very not there.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the material that he made persists and remains
Yeah,
fantastic.
It took him until he was fucking 40 to really get
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
I mean, I think
Sorry,
he
I'm
was
just
like.
gonna adjust my
No, that's fine.
body.
Yeah, that's fine. He was like telling these fucking jokes as a car salesman or something like that, or like he was like some kind of traveling
He would
salesman.
be.
So he would like joke around with people. I think he did it like early in his life, and he was like, "Oh, I can never make it with this right now. It's like I gotta make money for my family, yeah." And then like at some point, I think he got an agent, and they were like, "Just change your name." He's like, "Okay, Rodney Dangerfield." And then like eventually
Carlos
got on
Danger.
Carson, and then he was like still like a salesman or whatever, but he would like go and they'd be like, "Oh, didn't I see you on Carson?" He was like, "Yeah, what about it?" or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
However he lucked into it, we are all fortunate that that we had him. He is very funny.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there is a lot of great comedy out there from every era, going back decades, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I do think that the threshold for getting people into it may have risen because
Well, yeah. I mean,
we've all seen the
we're in
jokes
another
now.
boom, and the bubble is just getting bigger. I mean, there's talks of it popping because there's so much saturation. But
I could see that.
You know, like people saying like a special isn't really a special anymore if everyone has one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Whatever happens with it. I think like if you really like it, you'll stay in it and, you know, deal with whatever fucking brutality ensues.
Yeah, absolutely.
But damn it, there was another point I was gonna make and I forgot.
Let's figure it out. What kind of point?
It was about comedy, which is what we've been fucking talking about this whole
True.
time. That's fine. It's lost.
All right.
Let's go back talking about drugs. We're talking about Thorazine before.
I have so little to comment on with drugs.
No, that's fine. I just want to wrap up that point. Just
Thorazine.
you know, wrapping back around.
Sure.
So with Thorazine, or just in the 60s, you had Thorazine, you had cocaine, you had heroin, you had fucking speed freaks, right? Tons of LSD, but it was like this big, it was like this resurgence. Not even necessarily resurgence. I think maybe towards the end of the 60s, it was like resurgence to like the rebirth of tons of heroin abuse in the 70s. But yeah, you just had like all of these drugs being synthesized and just abused, like DOM also, which went by STP. It was like super acid, but it wasn't a tryptamine. But so anyway, the 60s was just like fucking booming with people just going crazy with their drug use. So that's it. Just wrapping that up with fucking talking about boomers before.
But yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
You can cycle back. Don't forget to pay that $22 medical bill.
Yes.
That's important.
Yeah.
And so the other cities I've been looking at.
Yes. Yeah, going way to the beginning.
You know, lately, I as much as I find some things about New York frustrating, I really do love a lot about New York City. And I don't want to be really far away from it, if I can help it. So I've been looking at like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and you know, like I go on Zillow. I don't know, looking like what kind of house could I buy in these areas
Keep
for
talking,
how much
I'm just
money?
gonna open the window.
Sure, yeah. We could maybe turn off the.
Oh, no, that thing can just stay on forever.
All right, well, we're gonna melt. But thank you for opening the window. So yeah, you can get a surprisingly fantastic deal on a house in either of these cities, and I'm thinking, you know, it's like a day trip away from New York City. Could even find remote work for a New York City-based company and still make New York City money and go live, you know, like a couple of hours away in another city. Like it's a full-fledged city with plenty of shit to do. But then I was comparing violent crime statistics, and like it's 10 times as much violent crime there as there is in New York City.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like Baltimore or something, like Baltimore can be pretty fucked up. I think that's another one.
Everyone I know who has been to Baltimore, every single person I know who has been to Baltimore tells me, man, Baltimore's fucked up. Don't go there. Shout out Baltimore.
They got good barbecue from what I hear. Shout out barbecue.
The whole concept
Dude,
of barbecue.
I fucking love barbecue. Forever barbecue.
All right, now
that is like everywhere I go in the world, I look for barbecue.
So are we talking like barbecue the way people mean it in New York, which is like grilling, maybe with sauce? Or are you talking like Southern style, 24 hours cooked in a smoker?
Yes.
Yeah, like both.
Well, more the smoke, like Southern style.
Right.
Because, I mean, you got places like Pig Beach around here. And like Mighty Quinn's, I think they got shit like that. Like their fucking brisket. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So good.
So that's a vote in favor of Baltimore, or
well, yeah.
do you think that the crime and the barbecue
everywhere
set each other off?
What
They're
is that?
balanced.
What is it?
The crime and the barbecue in Baltimore. Do you think that it's like balanced?
I mean, I'd
not worth it.
I'd deal with crime for good barbecue. But that's me, because I'm just that much of a fiend for barbecue. Like if I have the most mind blowing barbecue in an area where like maybe if I'm walking out at 1 a.m. I'm gonna get shot, I'll go during the day. I'll take advantage of the daylight time.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that it's very neighborhood dependent in these different cities.
Oh, most definitely. In Chicago, come on. Chicago is
another city I've looked at a little bit lately.
Definitely variant upon neighborhood.
Yeah,
Chicago is go on.
Well, basically every city in the United States except for like a couple of neighborhoods in a couple of cities in California is more affordable than New York.
Well, yeah, San
So-
Fran is not affordable at all.
No, but neither is New York. And the truth is, there are neighborhoods around there that are more affordable. Only problem is, you've got all the other problems, like everything is, again, you're back in that situation of needing a car.
Yep.
And
So
you know,
you've
4
already
hours
got
of traffic
extra
each way.
overhead. Already got extra overhead, which
Yeah.
would basically be like the rent here.
right. So it kind of ends up flattening out.
Yeah.
But in general, New York is extremely expensive. So I'm thinking Pittsburgh looks great. And I know people who've been there and they loved it. There's so much to do. They had so
tiny.
much fun.
It's tiny. There's not you basically can do everything or you can walk through the city in 20 minutes. I've
I
heard
don't
really
know.
good
I haven't
things about
been to
it
Pittsburgh.
too.
I was recently
Yeah,
in
but-
Salt Lake City. And
Oh, fucking
met,
Utah?
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And Salt Lake
See any
City.
compounds there?
What's that?
See any compounds there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I stayed in the actual metropolitan Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's 6 blocks.
You weren't hunting for Mormons, I see.
The Mormons came to me. Saw the temple. It was
They're
impressive.
Just so gracious.
Yeah, well, the Mormons are very nice. Shout out Mormons. But
Mormons.
the whole city is 6 blocks. I mean, granted, there's more city than that, but you're outside of the city part of the city.
Yeah.
And you're going into almost what we would consider suburbs in New York.
Yeah.
6 blocks. How is that a city?
Yeah.
Yes, there's some tall buildings, but you could put tall buildings anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're
I don't know about Pittsburgh.
they're
Pittsburgh
small.
might be better.
Pittsburgh, I think probably more than 6 blocks. I haven't been there. I almost worked there. But yeah, my sister, when she was traveling more for music stuff, she said she loved Pittsburgh. Pretty much a lot of musicians I've talked to are Pittsburgh is the bomb. But I don't think living there necessarily is I don't know. If you're used to the kind of action that this city provides, you might just find yourself really fucking bored.
Maybe.
That's pretty much it. It's it's a give and take, right? There's a certain level of sanity that you're going to gain from living in a more quiet, more chill place, but you'll miss out on all of the shit that you can all the activities that you can do here. Now, that's not to say that you'll always want to be running around the goddamn city. I think that at some point I'm definitely trying not to fucking be here.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It depends on the level of stimulation that you require.
That's
Right?
true.
You may find yourself in the same kind of headspace in this more low-key place.
Perhaps. I would like a nice living space. If I could have that near New York,
Yeah.
I would do that. But you can't have that because everyone already bought it all. So,
Yeah.
it costs millions of dollars to get some mediocre living arrangement 2 hours from the city.
Yep.
Not worth it.
Yep. I think my friend, it's an hour and a half or something, maybe 2 hour bus ride. She's got a place in the city also, but she's paying dirt cheap rent with her boyfriend upstate. And I'm just God damn, it's a 2 hour commute to get to fucking work. Yeah, she tries to stay in the city when she can, but it's just fucking A, that level of moving around.
Yeah.
That's I am already upset when I have to go to the office once a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. Fucking no, I couldn't do that. If maybe it was a once a week thing, maybe I could tolerate a 2 hour bus ride.
Yeah.
2 hours might be a little much.
Yeah.
An hour bus ride, I could probably
That's
do.
what I'm saying. Although
Once or twice a week.
some people really like that shit because let's say a physicist or something has some papers to write, my buddy was saying one physicist he knew would do that. He was a professor. 2 hour commute one way, 2 hour commute back, right? Just fucking 4 hours a day. He could read his papers, right? Any research papers you needed to fuck with, boom. Could get a chunk of it done on the way there and then be able to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he'd be working on something. You could do some writing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you take full advantage of that.
Sure. You better be doing something that you want to spend your entire life doing, though.
Yep.
Which is not the case for me in work, so...
At least right now. I mean, talking to Bill about it, it's just like it's a new. A lot of this is so new, like what we do, and so with this ill-defined nature of it, and trying to provide, our business practicality, right? It's like, oh, here's the value that we actually bring, and like the profits that can come in, right? At the end of the day, it's just dollar, and so it's just like as things go on and change inevitably happens, it's just constant. It's just more and more work being thrown on the plate with no salary increase.
That can be a big issue. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like really clunky transitioning.
I'm lucky in that I have managers that are advocating for me to get promotions and raises and things like that.
Yeah.
But unlucky in that we have an organization that doesn't give promotions or raises.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to see who wins that battle. If they, $20,000 raise will buy maybe another year of loyalty from me. I'll offer that much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, as being a worker at a place, you're providing a service for that company, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, they give the salary, right? You do the work.
Right.
Like we know at the end of the day, you can have people who are your friends at these places, but like you're not necessarily friend to the company.
Right.
You provide the service they need.
Yes.
You do a good job. They want to keep you around. You fuck off a little bit in their eyes. I don't know. Maybe you are fucking off. Who knows, right? But
no comment.
Yeah, no, not you personally, just in general. Right? Then they're like, "Oh, you're useless to us. Fuck off."
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to be said. A whole lot to be said about labor,
of course,
relations in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in my personal case, and in our general cases, these places often do engage in that behavior, and your responsibility will increase. The amount of work and the intensity of work that you need to do may increase, and they're not necessarily going to pay you anymore.
Yeah.
And then that's when you go somewhere else. Fuck the company that you had to leave, because
or you just chill for a while and gain sanity back.
Or you start increasing that amount of fucking off.
Yeah.
Gradually ratcheting that up.
The fucking off that you want to do.
Right. Because, all right, you want to keep piling things on, but you don't want to pay me anymore. How about I just do the work that I'm actually being paid for?
Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what leads to the whole bare minimum and then being
right.
like, oh, you're not growing with us.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Right. It's a very understandable mentality from, being in those trenches. It's like, you're right, I'm not growing with you, because you know what else isn't growing? My compensation.
Yeah, when I was reading about it, like there was a guy, I don't know, he'd been in fucking like, I think like finance or something for like years, and you're like, here's my take on the past like 30 years. And one of the things he was like, oh, like be nice, and it's like, oh, like the company isn't your friend, and it's just like if you see that they're definitely not trying to pay you more, you probably don't want to be there, but just don't do, like, end of the day, don't do more than you are paid for. They're like, doesn't matter if they're like, oh, like all these perks, huh? It's like, you are paid for a very specific role that you agreed to sign up for.
And depending on how many people are listening to this podcast, I know some heads are going to be exploding as you say that. Because there are a number of people who have this mindset that, no, you go in and you do more than you're paid for, and you do more than you're asked for, and that is how you succeed. And unless you're related to somebody who has already succeeded, that's bullshit. That's a fucking lie, and we can prove it mathematically.
Unless you're an entrepreneur and you're running your own goddamn business.
Sure.
Like,
if you're running your own business, then you could maybe say there's some commensurability between the work you're putting in and the value you're going to get out.
Yeah, generally going that extra mile, it really varies, right? But for the most part, it's like...
For 40 years, productivity in the United States has increased. Wages have stagnated.
Yeah, well, so... I mean, one, just kind of like reflecting on the point before, because, I feel you on the stagnation. But the guy was also making the point that, like, oh, like in the IT industry, like you don't see senior IT folk, really. Like you will see them, but like for the most part, he's like, you don't see many of them. because they can't handle that level of bullshit that's being thrown at them. Right? It's like because of the massive amount of stress that gets thrown your way in that, usually you want to get up to management as fast as possible. So that way you're like, okay, now it's like, I guess I can talk more and like work on just like shaping as opposed to just being in the fucking weeds all the time. And it's like, you may have some level of stress, but you're not, it's like a different level of crunch time, you know?
Most of the software developers and software engineers that I've known would not go into management to the extent that they can avoid it.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that's kind of...
Yeah.
I feel like I've inadvertently become a manager of some kind of product on our fucking shit, but
yeah,
I'm not a manager.
Right.
It's not my role.
It's not necessarily something that people who find their enjoyment in solving the problems directly are going to want to do. Right? I mean, you want to work on code, you want to have a problem, bleed over it for a while, and then build something that mostly solves the problem. You don't want to be in charge of coordinating schedules, telling people what to do, going to meetings, 6 hours out of your day. The people I know who actually want to program computers don't want manager positions because it takes them away from programming computers.
Yeah, they end up feeling a lot less productive in their existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one guy who was apparently read a lot. There was one guy I was reading about who he was like, yeah, I love being able to just come in a fucking Hawaiian shirt and these like stupid fucking shorts that I wear and just code. He's like, I don't need to worry about looking crisp and fresh for the new clients that are coming in. I can just stay on back end and fucking do the tasks that I need to do that the product manager sends our way. It's like, okay, that's my day.
Yeah.
Dick around with my other coworkers.
Yeah. Of course, there might be a bit of a bubble in IT. I've been worried about this for
most
a
definitely.
while. I got worried about this early, so definitely I don't fully trust my feelings on the matter because I started worrying about it years and years ago, and it doesn't seem like there has been a bursting of the bubble.
It's a big bubble. I mean,
that's also a possibility.
We do need more than ever people who know how to code, people who know how to handle these processes. But yeah, it seems like, I don't know, more and more people are able to do front end or whatever. Data scientist is turning more into software engineer. And there's tons of people that are teaching courses to get you on that track and get you that hookup. I mean, end of day, it all comes down to who you know. Like, I mean, I got lucky with my gig where it was like they were pretty open to hiring someone who was outside of that kind of network. And I mean, yeah, that can happen in a lot of jobs, but a lot of the time in order to like really seem to grow around and like keep your career escalating is just networking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, that's anything. In any fucking field, the easiest way to do any of this is good old-fashioned networking. You can be garbage, and it's like, oh, you know the right person, you say the right shit.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Making friends is better than learning a new software technology.
Right. I mean, you should know these things because it'll make, if you're signing up for that type of role, it'll make it a lot easier and less painful. But
yeah, it'll make it less painful.
Yeah,
depending on how much pain you can tolerate and how.
Oh, of course. If your asshole is
good, you are at finding things on Stack Overflow.
Yeah, Stack Overflow has been very generous, but if your asshole is well calloused, then you can pretty much take anything, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's pretty much what Stony Brook prepared us for.
That's right. that's the main takeaway from our university education.
Or just burned us out.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
It's fried our anxiety receptors. It's like, oh, I guess this should be really stressful.
Oh yeah, what's it fucking called? What's that specific one? Cortisol.
Cortisol?
Yeah, when cortisol gets released, that's horrible for kids' brain development.
Yeah. So, let's wake them up at 6 a.m. to pack them into a bus, to drive them to a prison that they can't leave for 7 hours.
Well, they can't. It's not a real prison. They can leave.
I mean, they can't leave on their own. And
I did it.
You weren't supposed to. And some people broke out of Alcatraz. Is my point.
All right, if we're talking like fucking like.
And also,
we're talking
I
like kindergarten through 5th grade, 6th through 8th, like.
I'm also comparing the schools to prisons architecturally, because the
Oh,
ones I
yeah.
went to,
Oh yeah.
like I grew up in a town
Yeah.
that had a school and a prison.
Yep.
They look the same.
Yep.
The only
It was
difference
the
is the
same
barbed
architect. It was the same architect.
Probably
probably.
was.
Yeah.
wire. You know,
It's
but
so funny because you look at Stony Brook, you look at SUNY Purchase, look at all these fucking schools, and like, wow, this is very prison.
yeah.
This is like
There's a lot of
unkempt
brutalist architecture.
like fucking asexual snakes growing in the goddamn walls. Very strange.
Yeah, it's weird. But
I was just making sure I could move this.
oh yeah.
But yeah, it was very odd. We, my buddy had this roommate named Wei Chin Wu, and he got 3 snakes, put them in some dirt, and named each of them Wei Chin and then Wu. It was, I mean, they died pretty fast.
Oh,
but,
that sucks.
We had Wei Chin Wu hanging out in our dirt. These tiny little black snakes.
That sounds kind of cool. I wish they had lived. Cause
They're actually pretty cute.
yeah.
But-
Snakes are nice.
But it
I
was
like
really
snakes.
weird having snakes in our walls.
Yeah.
Old architecture, dude. The prison architect.
Right? Why
Yeah.
not?
But so were you talking about just all the schools, or just like K through like 8th grade?
I mean, you do get a degree, depending on where you are.
'Cause
you
high
might
school,
get
I
a
feel like-
degree more
Freedom.
freedom, maybe, in high school.
Yeah.
But, you know, at that point, like, we're already talking of how many years of cortisol pumping through these developing minds? To circle back to the point you were making.
Yeah.
It's like, cortisol is horrible for the brain development of children. Well,
That's what I'm wondering
about
with-
that.
I'm like wondering with like I mean, it's also like the education's different, so I can't really speak to it like that much since I don't properly know all of it, but like at least in China they like drill like at least from what this girl that I studied with at Stony Brook told me. She, I think, would have to do math sometimes until like midnight just to get it done. I think this is like, it was either like the beginning of middle school or it was like in elementary
Jeez.
school. I mean, I remember some of the series we were working on, like when dealing with like partial differential equation shit. Like some of the tricks that she was able to pull out for like ordinary differential equations, like the sums that you fuck around with there. She was like, "Oh yeah, I learned this in 7th grade." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I didn't mess with this until college.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that's wild. I mean, then again, I also just I didn't give a fuck about anything. But like, yeah, they're like learning. I think she like was dealing with like Newtonian mechanics in like 8th grade.
All right, they got a little bit of a head start.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? She's like, yeah, they just drilled it. Could also be the region that she lived in. I don't know. I think it was.
That's
I
true.
think it was Nanjing. We would like talk about spicy food, and she was like, "Oh, let me know if you're going, and then we can have spicy food with my uncle." He owns like a fucking restaurant, or not, he doesn't own it, but I think there's like a spicy restaurant or something with like this stuff that she got me at one point. Super tasty. But yeah, I don't know. And then you have in Russia where it's just like they're fucking also G's with their goddamn education.
Used to be, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know about now, but it's just like, you know, you look at Eugene Feinberg at Stony Brook. That dude is fucking super relaxed, and he's just like made insane contributions to what is it? What is it called? I don't know. He's done a lot of Markov chain stuff. There's a specific field though that I can't remember the name of. Anyway, every time you talk to this guy, he's like, "Hello, how are you? You're good."
Good.
Just like super, just like, how are you so chill with all that you've done?
Has to be, I guess. I don't know if he was chill and that's why he succeeded, or he succeeded and therefore learned.
Learn to chill?
Learned to chill.
maybe
Like, he made it. Like, what does
Yeah.
he have to be anxious
yeah, right?
about?
It's like, I can do research just a little more slowly now because I already proved self. I am 58 years old now. And,
Yeah, right? Exactly.
I am the man. That
Right?
is all.
We're 2 hours in now, so like we can say fucking anything we want about.
I mean, we've been able to say anything we wanted.
Yeah, but
from
no
the
one's
start.
listening anymore, so we can totally get away with it now.
You'd be surprised.
If you're listening right now, let me know. I would be surprised. So I guess if, we're going to say anything positive about the Soviet Union, now would be the time to do it.
So Stalin was killed by his bodyguard.
I
think so.
Yeah.
Is that just a theory, or is that what actually happened? 'Cause I thought they were like, oh yeah, like he got poisoned by his fucking bodyguard.
I don't think that there's any... and I don't have any feeling that there was a consensus determination that that's what happened, but that could very well be a theory.
Okay.
I mean, definitely the death of Stalin promotes conspiracy theories, or inspires conspiracy theories, I should say.
He was just such a scary fucking...
Scary guy.
He was just a lunatic. Like, he was just so irrational.
Yeah,
Great Purge.
Lenin advised, like, hey, this guy's... Like, he's good at what he does, but he's not really cut out for power.
Yep. Yep, and Trotsky was like, I'm a Jew. Don't fucking have me do it, but, like, definitely not him. I'm a Jew.
You have a very interesting opinion of Trotsky.
Trotsky was, like, a very, like, he was insanely good with the public. Like, he was a natural speaker. But, like, if I recall, that's what he said. He was like, I'm a Jew. I can't fucking run this shit. I'm a fucking Jew. What the fuck do you think this is? You think a Jew could do this? I'm just good at speaking. Hello.
Very Jewy, Trotsky there.
Yeah.
Like, there are shades of Seinfeld.
Yeah, I don't know about Seinfeld, but definitely like maybe like Woody Allen sprinkled in there.
Yeah, a little Woody Allen.
Yeah.
That would
It's like,
explain that
guys,
flavor.
You just can't.
Well, and then he went to Mexico.
Yeah, and then
nothing bad
every
ever happened.
fucking member of Stalin's family, or not Stalin, Trotsky's family got murdered, like one by one. And then what do you know? Trotsky finally...
Yeah. Well, there's nothing you can say about Trotsky. It's not going to anger some segment of the internet. So
I don't care.
I'm going to stick. Well, I'm just saying I'll stick merely to.
I like Trotsky.
Sarcastic. See, you just pissed off half the internet and won the other half.
No, I mean like I don't really like the whole Bolshevik revolution and then fucking dealing, with like that transition into communism was an absolute shit show. But Trotsky was a very interesting man. Like, I'm sure that if like I was alive during that time, I wouldn't be like, oh, like I want to hang out. And I'm not saying that now that I'd want to hang out with him, but just like his history is really interesting. Mm-hmm. Just that whole period is very interesting. And
It's true.
And then it gets extra terrifying.
I'm just thinking of there are many sectors and many splinters in the group of people who give a shit about that part of history. So I'm going to praise Nestor Makhno and piss off most of them.
Who is that?
Nestor Makhno was
Is it a Russian guy?
yeah,
Was it
well, Ukrainian, but he was
anarchist?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was a revolutionary general who fought during the revolution and the Civil War. And
Didn't
all
he
that.
end up in Paris when he tried to? I might be thinking of a different guy.
I mean, so a few people ended up in Paris. I don't know if Makhno ever spent time in Paris. I know more about his the Free State that was established and his contributions as the head of the Black Army. But I'm sure, interesting life.
Okay.
And apparently there are a lot of accusations of doing terrible things, but I don't think you can find any individual associated with the Russian Revolution
Who didn't do?
who
fucking
wasn't
horrible
accused
things.
of doing
Yeah.
terrible things. So
Yeah. There was a lot of horrible things going down at that point.
kind of not necessarily saying that any of these people should be sainted, but also not necessarily saying that they shouldn't, because I learn most of my things through Western propaganda, like any American. So
Shout out propaganda.
shout out propaganda again. I don't know anything about the reality of what happened there, but the Soviet Union produced some really fucking great mathematicians. That is a fact.
And musicians.
And musicians.
I mean, fucking
Athletes.
You got what is it? Stravinsky, Shostakovich, Prokofiev, and then you got interpreters like Richter and Gilels. Incredible.
classical
Incredible.
pianist here.
Incredible
So-
people.
Definitely.
Although actually Prokofiev was kind of a piece of shit.
Well, again, we're talking about people's accomplishments in their field and
Yeah.
not their qualities as a human being.
Yeah, Prokofiev. He, I think he was accused of something, and he blamed his Spanish wife, and she was like thrown into jail for like the rest of his life. I think he died 8 years later. But yeah, he like, if I remember correctly, he got her thrown away so he wouldn't have to be fucking thrown into some kind of weird Russian prison. And Shostakovich, I don't really know much about him. I don't think he was that, like, I don't think he was like that much of a dick. I think he was more of just totally fucked by Stalin with, like, I think Shostakovich was like, I don't really want to work on music anymore. And Stalin was like, we're going to murder your family if you don't keep writing. So keep writing.
Well, that's a powerful persuasion technique.
Yeah, because you knew he wasn't kidding. Stalin wasn't really known to be a comic. He wasn't really known
he didn't
for
do
his
the stand-up.
humor.
He didn't do the stand-up, that's for sure.
Honestly, if he did do stand-up, though, people would be laughing just so they weren't decapitated.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people would have... It would have been the most uproarious, hysterical audience in comic history, because it had to be.
Yep. Oh my God! Imagine just rewriting the history books like the greatest comedian to ever live, Joseph Stalin.
This is like the way that Kim Il-sung is described in... supposedly described in North Korea, like born on a mountain where a rainbow was
Oh yeah, it's like very like Greek
touching,
It's
and
like Greek.
spring spontaneously broke out.
It's like fucking Greek mythos.
Yeah, and then of course his son, like the first time he tried golfing, Kim Jong-il got 7 holes in one, and yeah, but you don't see that with Kim Jong-un. He's not promoting that cult of personality and like making up all this ridiculous stuff and demanding that people believe it.
No, he's like, I'm a dude and I'm fucking I rule you guys and like nuclear. Like, how we doing? Everyone's an enemy.
And then he'll just write a nice love letter to Donald Trump.
D-
And that's good.
D-T.
Yeah, it's like, so the United States is going to crack down on our nuclear program. What do we do, glorious leader? Don't worry, I got this. Dear Donnie. And then Donald Trump is, we fell in love. Okay, he's a good guy. He's a good, leave him alone. He's a good guy.
Donnie.
And then,
That's so
the
painful.
nuclear program can continue unabated for another couple of years. So that's the trick.
Maybe I just haven't been paying enough attention to the news recently because it's all fucking horseshit. But yeah, I haven't really seen any headlines about that. It's been more of
About
like
Kim Jong-un
fucking
and
like
the nuclear program?
Yeah, it's been more
Yeah,
about like
we don't talk
French-
about it anymore.
It's like China being wild and then like the French riots like literally incapacitating fucking Paris.
I haven't been observing what the news is saying, what the news media are saying.
I don't know if this
So-
is actually how you pronounce his name. I like forgot how it's actually pronounced, but Macron.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever the
Probably
fuck.
closer the second time.
Yeah, you know, the president.
Yeah.
He, his administration or whatever the fuck it's called in Paris, in France. His folks have been trying to push a pension reform, and it would basically cause people to work longer instead of retiring earlier.
Right.
So everybody has been freaking the fuck out. And so all transit has been like horribly affected. Huge delays on highways. I think like there's been like probably like Molotovs being thrown in the fucking streets, like just tons of protests.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is the French have way more balls than Americans.
Well, it's also it's smaller. It's easier to.
I haven't heard of a single Molotov being thrown here.
I think in some of the protests down south, there's probably one.
I don't know.
But yeah,
Hasn't made the
I don't
news.
actually know if it was a Molotov. I just really wanted to sprinkle that in there.
Right. Seasoning. Little spice.
But I know the protests have been pretty serious.
Those are pretty serious.
Yeah.
This is not a fact check. This is just I want to make sure that nothing crazy is happening because my phone started like twitching.
Dude, when are you getting a fucking case for that?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, man. Accidents happen. You know I'm a clumsy fuck. You can be clumsy. We are all capable of it.
We are all capable.
You just
of being
got
clumsy.
that thing after like 5 years of broken bullshit.
Close, yeah.
I mean, if you want to go back to a flip phone, I completely understand. But
Yeah, there's a big part of me that would like that,
yeah.
but
in this day and age,
yeah,
bud.
You can't do anything with a flip phone.
In the Venmo age, yeah.
Right, Venmo's probably the big thing. Venmo and Lyft. Like, if it weren't for those,
I think Lyft bought Via too. So like
That
that's why Lyft
explains
has
a
had
lot.
like the OG prices recently.
oh, you noticed that too.
Yeah, dude. Like I remember looking, it was like fucking $10 more to use Via, and I was like, "Are you kidding? Fucking
Right.
Lyft all the way. What's good, son?"
Yeah,
And they actually come. Well, if you choose the cheaper option, they won't. But like, still, they come like, still come and pick you up, like at your location, nice price.
right. Yeah, I recently got Via and didn't really notice a price difference. I'm like, this is less convenient for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And also, Lyft is like twice as expensive for me to make the same trip. Like, usually I'm going from my apartment.
Lyft or Via?
I'm talking Lyft.
Oh, I see.
To go from my apartment to my girlfriend's apartment, like, shared was like $7, $8. Now it's $14. What the fuck?
I mean, it's all going to be rising because of the, I don't know, some kind of demand, maybe. I don't fucking know.
Doesn't surprise me if they've purchased a competitor, and that's one of the reasons they can just afford to jack their prices up and keep them locked in with Uber.
I was saying they got lower because when I was looking at prices for Via, right? Like me and Lexi saw fucking Beetlejuice on Broadway.
How was that?
I liked it more than I expected to.
Cool.
But I'd never want to spend that much money on a goddamn show. Like,
Very special occasion sort of thing.
no, of course. I mean, like, it was basically a birthday present to her, but it was like still like fuck. It's like we can spend that money on food. A lot of fucking food.
Mm-hmm.
You know I love you, Lexi. But yeah, so we got a fucking Lyft back, and it was like $20, whereas Via was like 30.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Because the supposed ways that they work.
Yeah, that's why I think Lyft bought Via. And so that's why, like, sometimes it's cheaper. It's, like, super fucking cheap. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell. There must have been something weird. It must have been some surge time when you were trying to go to her place.
I don't think 10 o'clock on a Thursday night should be a surge time.
You'd
but
be surprised. A lot of people's weekends start on Thursday.
maybe there are some people whose weekends start on Thursday, but in New York you can find people's weekends start on any day.
Yeah, that's true. But I still don't think it's the average. I think the average is, like, Thursday through Sunday, maybe. Like, on those other days, not so common. Because, like, I know there's, like, a lot of comedy shows that go on a Thursday. There's a lot of people going out and drinking at bars. Like, even if it's not, like their weekend officially starts, they treat it like that. Like, I remember this dude that I work with, when he used to work on the same floor we did when I go in, people would ask him, just like, oh, how was your Thirsty Thursday, huh? And he's like, oh, I got so drunk. I really helped deal with my thirst. He didn't say it like that. He didn't sound like that much of a tool, but
Not that much of a tool.
yeah.
A tool,
Yeah.
but not to that degree. That was an exaggerated amount of toolage.
Yeah. I was also forgetting what I was saying, so I was like, where am I going with this?
Fucking thirsty. What the fuck, man? I can't keep up. Taco Tuesdays, Thirsty Thursdays. I am apparently not consuming on schedule.
there's I think I told you about this. There's this fucking show called Xavier Renegade Angel, and it's all just absurd. I'll show you an episode after this. You're gonna
Sure.
fucking hate me. But there's an episode where so basically it's this dude who he has like a beak, a snake arm. He's got like chicken legs.
Uh-huh.
like I think like dog nipples, like blonde hair, like fur, and he walks around saying that he's a Waka Laka healer. He talks like this for Frittata. I am a Waka Laka healer. It's a machinima shit. Oh fuck, where was I going with this? What were we talking about before?
Thirsty Thursdays.
Yeah, so there was one episode where he's like hanging out with a gang, and they're like talking about different days, and they're like, oh, like postmodernistic Mondays.
I like that. I find that very funny.
Yeah,
I might like this show.
yeah, I'll see if I think it's like the second episode, so we can probably dig that up. But yeah, they're just like making fun of how there's like all these different fucking names for these days. Do you know what Hump Day is?
Well, it's Wednesday, right?
Yeah, but what the fuck is Hump Day? I recently, like, I thought it was just a thing that was like kind of like obviously socially spreading around, but like I saw an advertisement for like some fucking office bullshit that was like, we'll make your Hump Day great. And it's like, how is Hump Day becoming this official? What the fuck is this?
There was that commercial with the camel. Camel has a hump.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Shouting Hump Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just the middle of the week, I guess. So it's like you're over the hump. You're through the more than halfway through the week.
Well, yeah, I mean,
as you go over Wednesday.
Yeah, if you also think of like 1, 2, 3,
right, exactly,
4, 5, 6, 7, it's the fucking median.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got you got a 5-day work week, right? So it's.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the entire week, but yeah.
No, but weekends are actually time that humans get to be humans rather than human resources. So that's where the name comes from. I'm not even being clever.
I know. I'm just fucking HR.
Oh, we don't need to dig into HR. Not this time. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'll come back.
Yeah.
We'll do a special on HR.
I'd say next time.
Yeah.
Next time we will continue our shitting on work culture and talking about fucking Soviet Russia.
Sure. And we can talk about how postmodern neo-Marxism isn't a thing. Literally doesn't exist. Because you mentioned postmodern Mondays.
Yeah, postmodernistic Mondays. Okay, but I think we'll this will be continued. This is it's been a lot of fun.
Got material.
John. Yeah.
We actually did a proper handshake that time. In our personal life, we don't do that.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of proper. I didn't really grip your whole.
I mean, it was better than a lot of people do.
That's all right. You know, trying to get a little serious here, okay?
Right, for professional appearances for the purposes of the show.
Yeah, I'm a very professional man. All right.
We're wearing clothes.
Oh yeah, that's
professional.
That's pretty big for me. All right. Till next time. It's been real, dudes or dudettes, whatever. Catch you on the flip side.